Here's the Harley-Davidson starting grid for today's running of the Dickies 500. Ryan Newman won the pole, crashed on his second lap. As we talked about in the countdown, he will start at the back of the field in a backup car. Jeff Gordon will start outside of row 1.
In row 2 on the inside, Matt Kenseth. He will inherit the pole when Newman goes to the back. Joe Nemechek in outside row 2.
Row 3, Mayfield on the inside. Good qualifying run for Mike Bliss. 0 car on the outside.
Row 4, Greg Biffle, one of the chasers, along with his teammate Mark Martin, another guy in the chase for the next car.
On the inside of row 5 is Bill Elliott, trying some stuff for Evernham for 2006, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the outside.
And there's Jimmie Johnson on the inside, looking for a good day, as well as Elliott Sadler has had a victory at this racetrack.
Row 7, Dave Blaney, who's looking for a ride in 2006, and Denny Hamlin, who got one handed to him this morning with Joe Gibbs Racing. He's in row 7.
Inside row 8 is Casey Kane. And Tony Stewart, our NASCAR Nextel Cup leader, with just 3 to go on the outside.
Row 9, Bobby Labonte on the inside. 18 car on the outside, Kurt Busch, defending champion.
Row 10, Scott Wimmer, next to veteran Ricky Rudd.
Row 11, someone picked Brian Vickers to win today. We'll see if that's true. Scott Riggs on the outside.
Row 12, good run for Kevin LePage in the 66 car on the outside, Kyle Busch.
Row 13, Bobby Hamilton Jr. and Rusty Wallace, his last race at Texas, and it is Rusty Wallace Day in the state of Texas today.
Row 14, we fight on the inside, Mark Truex Jr., leader in the NASCAR Busch Series points, and Mike Skinner on the outside.
Row 15 on the inside, Dale Jarrett, UPS 88 car, and Carl Edwards. Watch out for him today.
Row 16, Michael Waltrip. He's next to another former Texas winner, Jeff Burton.
Inside of row 17 is Kevin Harvick, the winner here yesterday in a 300-mile event. Terry Labonte on the outside, born in Texas.
Row 18, Casey Mears on the inside. On the outside, Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Spencer.
Take you back to row 19, we'll find Travis Kvapil right next to Kyle Petty.
Row 20, we find a couple of Chip Ganassi cars. Sterling Marlin on the inside, Jamie McMurray on the outside.
Row 21, Ken Schrader on the inside. On the outside, driving for Petty, Jeff Green.
And starting 43rd today, Mike Wallace. The 43 starters for today's race. Robbie Gordon, P.J. Jones, Stuart Kirby, Carl Long, Johnny Sauter, Reed Sorensen failed to qualify. And again, as we talked about, Ryan Newman crashed on his second lap of qualifying after winning the pole. Will have to go to the back of the field in a backup car. Wally?
Let's see if we can get a hold of Elliott Sadler. Elliott, this is Wally in the booth. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I got you loud and clear.
All right. Well, you know how to win at this place. Do you have something today?
I think our combo sport's pretty good, Wally, but I tell you, this is a different Texas racetrack than it's ever been in the past. We learned yesterday that the groove gets really wide. We can run up against the wall, and it's kind of getting like Atlanta. I think the team that gets their car running up high today the best is going to be the team to beat.
That and this place is going to change a little bit by temperature where this race goes into evening. You guys on top of your game there?
Yeah, we built a lot of adjustment into it. My crew chief just told me it's already 4 or 5 degrees cooler now, track temperature, than when we practiced yesterday. Turn 1 is a lot more in the shade than when it was in practice, so it's kind of going to be like the Coca-Cola 600, kind of where you got to keep your car freed up as the night goes on, and hopefully we've got enough adjustment in the car to be able to do that, so we'll see what happens.
Good luck, Elliott.
All right, you guys have fun today.
Our thanks to Elliott. Let's get you set for the race. Final stories from pit road, starting with Matt Yoakum.
And Bill, Elliott Sadler's chasing that $1 million, but the guys that are chasing the big money. You know, you got Greg Biffle, Jimmie Johnson trying to close that gap of Tony Stewart. Now, if you look at the 16 team, now they won here in the spring, and you heard Biffle say the confidence. They feel like their car is just as good as it was here in the spring, and he felt like the biggest key will be tonight staying on top of this racetrack as it changes from daylight into the nighttime. Meanwhile, Jimmie Johnson, their team, they have a good car, but not great. In fact, Chad Knaus told me he woke up at 3 a.m. this morning, so glad that it was not an impound weekend. They could come up with different ideas of how to make that car even better. Jimmie has never finished worse than 9th here at Texas. Dave?
Mark Martin should be good today. The last 3.5 mile tracks that we've raced on, average finish 3.0 and a 3rd place last week at Atlanta. Following which, he said in his press release, boy, if I could have a car that good, I'd race until I was 60. That takes us to the 2019 season. It would probably be with Jack Roush, and we'll wait and see. Marty?
Dave talked to Matt Kenseth moments ago. He told me goal number 1 for the day can be accomplished on lap 1. Getting those 5 bonus points very early in the race will help their championship cause. And emphatically, he told me this morning, we're still in this championship. In the 3 races before the chase, they made up 163 points and 6 positions. They can do it again here in the championship chase. Alan?
Earlier this week, Tony Stewart, talking about his past record here at Texas, said, "We haven't set the world on fire here. Just me back in April." You heard him say earlier, the goal for today, not to have a 31st place finish like he did earlier, but to make sure he finishes in front of all the other championship contenders and keeps his point lead intact. Bill?
Thanks, Alan. You guys have a great day down there on pit road. Crowd of about 190,000 here at the Texas Motor Speedway. They sold tickets to people from all 50 states and 12 foreign countries. They've come to see the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series go 500 miles on this 1.5-mile track. Front row now of Matt Kenseth and Jeff Gordon as pole sitter Ryan Newman drops to the back of the field. 3 races to go in the chase for the championship and 500 miles to chase the checkered flag at Texas. Live on NBC.
Get to the bottom fast right now by the looks of it.
5 bonus points for Matt Kenseth for leading the first lap. Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the inside of Blaney.
Boy, Blaney was all over the racetrack. You know, the pressures are down on these cars. They're real hard to drive right now until the tire pressures build up. So everybody's got to be real careful this part of the race. Also, the track will start, the group will start getting a little bit wider once they get the pressures up.
Kenseth, Gordon. Let's front 2 cars.
Looks like there's someone coming off turn 4. Looks like Bill Elliott gets a little bit loose and just barely touches the wall off turn 4. Elliott Sadler, the 38 car, trying to get by Bill.
The drivers in yellow on the ticker at the top of the screen. The 10 drivers in the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship. Dave?
BP, you said that Bill Elliott might be trying some stuff for Evernham, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think that was one of them.
No, that's not the playbook.
Yeah, Elliott's got his hands full right there. Car got loose again. You can see the tail wanting to just kick out and get sideways right in the center of the corner.
And that's another Evernham car, the 9 of Casey Kane. Casey hit the wall here yesterday.
Leading the race yesterday and blew a right front tire. We see Nemechek about to lose a spot to Greg Biffle, 16, and here comes Mike Bliss in 0.
Keep Nemechek up there on the high side. Joe may lose a few spots right there.
I tell you, walking through the garage here this morning, I saw some nervous crew chiefs because they're just such an unknown on this racetrack in the fall.
Dave?
Wow, did you see the 0 get loose right there?
You did.
I did, Wally. Not that good for Mike right now, trying to hold his position. But on the outside, Joe Nemechek, his crew chief, Ryan Pemberton, was a little bit nervous because of the way that they practiced yesterday. Unusually poor, according to Ryan. They tried a bunch of stuff as far as fixing it overnight. We'll see how it holds for the 01 Army car.
A lot of the guys this morning were talking about, in order to not have these cars be so tight or push off the corners, they have to loosen them up. But the problem is they're all loose getting into the corner. 190 plus mile per hour going into these corners, and the car wants to get sideways as you turn the steering wheel. Not a lot of fun.
And a lot of talk in the garage this morning, Benny, about the car behind these 2, the 6 car of Mark Martin and the Roush team as a whole.
Just how fast that 6 car was in practice, how good they feel like he's going to be in the race. And Pat Tryson, the crew chief on the 6 car, one of the crew chiefs that really wasn't very nervous.
Put a lot of confidence in your driver when you got a guy like Mark with the wheel. Alan talked about Mark's confidence on the Bank of America countdown to green. When Mark has that feel on a Sunday morning, you know he's sure his car is going to be good.
Part of that is having a crew chief like Pat Tryson, because he brings a whole calm to the race team.
Ryan Newman, the 12 car, trying to work his way forward. Alan?
The BP, we talked about the story where he won the pole on his first qualifying lap Friday, crashed on his second. This backup car that's on the track now has not been raced since November 2001. Crew Chief Matt Borland said it's not the car we really wanted to be using today, but they had a little malfunction at their shop, a little snafu, he called it, in their production. So they put this car on the truck. He said it's not bad, but it's not like the piece we had Friday.
Newman's going to have to fight his way through the field.
We see him back in 40th position.
Got 500 miles to get there. Had a good car here yesterday in the Busch race, but as Wally talked about, their pit strategy hurt them.
And Junior, the 8 car, goes by Mark Martin on the outside. Already they've moved, they groove up on the top side, Alan.
Hey, BP, remember the race in Atlanta last Sunday when Junior led so much?
Yes.
Same car. They cleaned it up, brought it back. They're very confident they're going to have a good run today. Dave?
Alan, Mike Bliss trying to hold station there in the 0 car right now. He just radioed in that his car was very loose coming off the corner. Wanted to whip around that rear end. And he doesn't like racing with Joe Nemechek right now. In fact, he wishes he could get by him, but so far hasn't been able to do it.
Well, he's going to be real loose now getting into one if he's side by side with Earnhardt. When you're down there on the bottom like that, it makes your car even worse. But there's enough room in between those 2 cars, so it's not as bad. If they were real tight together, 0 would be silent.
And we saw 2 examples of that yesterday.
In the Busch race, we saw J.J. Yeley and Adrian Fernandez both go in the corner on the inside of someone, backed in the fence. Greg Biffle, the 16 car, Matt, he's going somewhere.
Yes, he is, BP. He's trying to reel in the 19 of Mayfield. Now, he just told his team on the radio the car is bottoming out, especially down in turns 1 and 2, and running me up the racetrack. Can't run down the bottom line, but he takes that position away from the Dodge of Mayfield.
Biffle was not very happy here on Friday afternoon after the practice sessions, but was happy after his qualifying run.
He didn't know where that came from, I don't think.
No, I don't think he did either, but he's glad it showed up. We did that interview with him that you saw in the Countdown to Green between qualifying and the practice session, and it was after the practice session when Greg wasn't exactly thrilled with the way things were going, but they're working out all right so far. Same for Matt Kenseth. He's out front, trying to hang on in the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship. 12 laps in the books at the Great American Speedway in Fort Worth.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Series racing from Texas Motor Speedway is brought to you by Sprint, proud partner of the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. By Bank of America, higher standards. By Ford F-150, built Ford tough. And by Allstate, official partner of NASCAR.
Matt Kenseth qualified third, started on the pole because Ryan Newman had to start at the back of the field in a backup car. Matt has led all 17 laps, and he's out front on lap 18.
Appropriate, we put that up on lap 17.
And here's our AutoZone in the zone drivers at Texas. Dale Earnhardt Jr., 5 top 10 finishes and 6 starts here. The former winner at this track, Jamie McMurray, with 3 straight top 10 finishes, and Kurt Busch, ditto.
And Mike Bliss just takes the spot from Junior.
Bliss has had some good runs here.
That is fifth spot.
Yep, in the Truck Series. Guy second in the championship standings. Jimmie Johnson, update from Matt.
And right now he's telling Chad Knaus the car's a little bit free, especially in the center to up off the corner. Now his spotter, Chris Osborne, making observations of their teammate, Jeff Gordon, who runs up in third. This is what he just told Jimmy moments ago.
Jimmy, the 24 car is running the same line that you just ran. One groove off the bottom in 1 and 2, and he's bringing it in 3 on the bottom and letting it drift right up 3/4 of the way up the track by the time he exits 4.
And you could see moments ago when Jimmy went down into turn 1, you could start to see the shade get more and more down in turns 1 and 2. And Chad Knaus said, look, keep an eye on that because we will have to make changes as the race goes on.
And that's a good thing about having a spotter, too. You know, I mean, they're looking at where the other cars are running. They're seeing if they're faster, and that's when they bring it up.
See, Tony Stewart, the 20 car, as he gets on the inside of Mark Martin, we felt like the 6 car was going to be one of the better cars. Tony Stewart goes by, and the last lap, 20, fastest lap of all the cars out there.
Obviously had a disappointing run that we talked about in the countdown, but things improving here for him, Alan.
Yeah, Bill, and his crew chief Greg Zipadelli talked about the difference between the race here in the spring and now in terms of their program and their car as being night and day. Totally different. They had a big test around Memorial Day weekend up at Michigan Speedway that set the stage for this summer run they've had on these fast 1.5 and 2 mile tracks. They expect a good run today. Tony calling it a minute ago, saying his car is just a tick tight, meaning the front end grip lacking a little, but not bad at all.
9th a week ago, 2nd 2 weeks ago at Martinsville for Tony Stewart. It's Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 and Johnson in the 48. Matt Kenseth is a former winner here at Texas and has led every lap so far today in the Dickies 500. When we come back, we'll take you through the field.
Four. Clear by 10 on the 45. Leader's been on the bottom all the way around. Stayed on the leader. About 2/10 slower than the leader that lap. 2/10, good line. Pretty much just arrow tight, Matt. 10-4. Outside at your door, quarter, bumper, clear. Clear by half. Clear by 4. How's it, Ryan? 230, 252, what'd you ask? 4, that's what I asked.
eye out for debris in 3. Caution's out, debris in 3. It's right in the groove.
28 laps are complete here at Texas. The caution flag has just come out. Update you on that in a second. For much more on NASCAR, log on to NBCSports.com. Benny has an in-depth preview of each race in the chase for the next Talk Up Championship, and Alan Bestwick looks at how the pressure has intensified on those drivers contending for the title. That's all at NBCSports.com. Debris in turn 3.
And a lot of teams are saying, thank goodness this caution flag came out so we can make some adjustments.
He's not.
He's not one of them.
There are a lot of teams, but he's not one of them.
He was flying about a 2.5 lead over second place Greg Biffle.
And he was starting to put cars a lap down. That's what you like as a leader.
Start passing guys, huh?
Passing guys again.
Jimmy Spencer was knocked off the lead lap, as well I talked about, but guess what?
He's the lucky dog.
Yes, he is. A couple of guys on the march forward. Let's see, Carl Edwards started 30th. He's worked his way up to 17th. Ryan Newman started 43rd, is up to 33rd. So the field under caution here on lap 30. Here are the unofficial results from yesterday's NASCAR Busch Series race at the Texas Motor Speedway. Big win for Kevin Harvick, very emotional victory lane. Biffle, Edwards, Sorensen, and Kyle Busch, the top 5. 2 races remain in the season for the Busch Series stars. Martin Truex Jr. with an 84-point lead over Clint Bowyer as they head to Phoenix next Saturday.
Bowyer started at the rear of the field in a backup car and gained points on Truex. That's a day for them yesterday.
Yeah, but that's a bad habit he's developed.
I know. He did that at Memphis and won the race. He said, well, I'll just do that again. It didn't work out quite as well.
Okay, time for the guys on pit road to go to work. And I'm not talking about the over-the-wall guys. I'm talking about our 4 guys. Matt Kenseth leads the parade. We send it down to Dave.
And Mark Martin trying to keep championship hopes alive, Bill. His car just a little bit tight in the corners. They'll make a wedge adjustment, maybe perhaps an air pressure adjustment too. 4-tire change for Mark. Matt?
Greg Biffle slides to a stop, trying to angle his car out a little bit to have an easier exit. They're making a chassis adjustment. The car not bottoming out anymore, but it is tight. Snyder.
Leader Matt Kenseth, top of your screen, Matt, said the car was just a little bit loose, so a very minor change, 1/4 pound in the left rear tire. That's it, AB.
Tony Stewart moved up from 16th to 8th in that opening run of the race. Slight air pressure adjustment on his car to help it turn a little better in the corners. Pretty smooth stop so far for Smoke.
A lot of traffic down there on pit road, as you might imagine, early in the race. Everybody on the lead lap. See Matt Kenseth on the race off of pit road.
How about that Johnson crew picking up 4 spots on pit road? Junior's guys, too. How
about Gordon losing 5 spots?
So race off of pit road. There's Matt, Greg Biffle. Waiting for the rest of the guys. Here they come. There's Junior. So under caution here at the Texas Motor Speedway, Matt Kenseth, the race leader, live on NBC.
Junior, this is PRN. Can you talk? You want to talk?
Car radio and Junior, right now that Budweiser Chevy looks pretty racy out there.
Okay, track's real slick. I don't really know, why the cars having a little trouble getting the grip. Why the cars having a little trouble getting the grip. Why the cars having a little trouble getting the grip. Why the cars having a little trouble getting the grip. Why the cars having a little trouble getting the grip. Why the cars having a little trouble getting the grip. Why the cars having a little trouble getting the grip. Why the cars having a little trouble getting the grip.
You know, 9 different drivers have won the 9 races here at the Texas Motor Speedway, and 6 of those 9 races have been won by Fords. In 2002, Matt Kenseth took Ford to victory lane here and went on to win a series-high 5 races that season. That also was the first year Matt finished top 10 in the championship standings, and he's been in the top 10 every year since. For more, log on to FordRacing.com. Bill Weber, your turn.
Thank you, Marty. Take a look at our Craftsman pit summary. Guys coming off of pit road. Jimmie Johnson picking up some spots, and Jeff Gordon losing some. Word from pit road is the 24 got blocked in by the 2.
They finished his work, but he couldn't get out of his pit. All right, pace car off.
Matt Kenseth has led every lap. Coming around to complete lap 33. Green flag back out. We get back at it. Hamilton Jr. was guilty of a commitment line violation coming to pit road. And the 18 of Bobby Labonte, too many men over the wall. Both those guys to the tail end of the field on the restart.
Stewart picked up a couple spots right there. Took the 6th and that was a good lap.
When you pass cars like that, that's a great lap. Look at 5 car Kyle Busch to the top of the racetrack, hits that bump down in 1 and 2, and I don't think they like that bump too much.
He was loose before he hit that bump, so I'm not sure that car isn't really loose in.
He had moved from 25th to 12th before the caution flag. Was 9th last time over the line.
car. Denny Hamlin, as Bill told you earlier, it was announced today that he will drive this 11 FedEx car in 2006.
Look at how loose that thing is, man. I'm telling you what, he's got his hands full.
That 11 car pulled up behind him and packed that under it and just got him so loose.
How about those guys on the 11 team in the garage this morning talking about Denny Hamlin?
Oh, they were just so pumped up that he's their driver next year. Bill and I walked by this morning. Oh, we see Biffle going to the outside.
Teammates.
A couple of Roush-Coutiers there. Biffle and Matt Kenseth share the same car owner, Jack Roush. Now, did Kenseth let him go by to get 5 points, and will Biffle let him go back, or is he just faster? We'll see.
We're about to find out. Biffle won the race here in the spring. Has 5 wins this season. And now has 5 bonus points here at Texas.
In the drivers' meeting this morning,
I think it's pretty obvious the answer to that one.
Drivers' meeting, Matt Kenseth walked up to Biffle and said, well, you got your butt beat yesterday, didn't you? Finished second in the Busch race yesterday.
Matt.
And Biffle has taken over the lead. Now, he's earned bonus points in 6 of the 7 chase races. Now, he can pick up some more bonus points, knowing that time begins to run out. He should have a great weekend here. He's expecting even bigger things next week at Phoenix. That car, though, really strong.
Do you think the 17 let it by?
Yeah.
Well, maybe
give it a couple more laps here.
Marty, you got something on this?
Well, I don't think he let him go, Bill, but Matt does want the lead back. He made that clear. He said, guys, I want to get this back. I liked it out front much better than being behind the 16 car.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8. Tony Stewart in the 20 on the move.
Well, there goes Tony on the inside. Junior on the outside. Stewart takes that spot away. Alan, Tony saying anything?
He's not saying anything, but he's doing it on the track, BP. His pit crew got him one of those spots, too. He came down pit road in 8th position. They got him out in 6th position, excuse me, in 7th position. And now he's moved up to, what, 5th, 4th now? Yep. He's on the move.
You're right. Matt?
Bill, Biffle has the lead. Just wondering how much longer he's going to be able to hold it. Just came on the radio and said, I have a bad, and I mean bad vibration. Feels like it could possibly be in the drivetrain, maybe not a loose wheel.
Wow. 3rd in the championship standings. And as they run right now, just 45 points behind championship leader Tony Stewart.
Normally you would think it's
anything.
normally you would think it's a loose wheel because it normally starts to show itself about 7 or 8 laps after you make a pit stop. So we'll see what happens.
And it's usually the left rear tire that loosens up.
Dave, what are you working on?
Well, Kyle Busch, after all those cars got done passing him and making him really, really loose, all he said on the radio was, woo, all righty.
You know, we have a Home Depot virtual garage, I think, can explain what we're talking about by pulling up behind someone and getting them loose.
Yeah, if you watch the car, you get up behind somebody, you get really, really close to the rear bumper. What you do is you take the air off their rear spoiler. You also pack air underneath the car, so it actually lifts the rear of the car when you get into the corner. That makes the back slide around. He's got to lift just a little bit. You turn under him and take the spot.
And that's what we saw just a moment ago with the 5 car of Kyle Busch.
I saw that in Wally's world, too, only there wasn't a car behind you.
I did that all on my own.
Hey, rear interliner or something, I don't know.
That's Greg Biffle still talking about the vibration he's feeling.
He's hoping it's a tire and not something worse. Still leads.
I don't know if he's hoping it's anything.
He's hoping it goes
It's his
away.
imagination.
So we'll stay on top of the Biffle situation. We promised you a through the field. The caution came out. When we come back to Texas, we will take you through the field. Biffle leads Kenseth and Johnson.
Real good, buddy. Just picking them off now. Travis, this is everything. All clear. Side. Clear. Side. Clear. Got one outside of you. Clear. Inside. Clear. Inside. Clear. Back inside again. Clear. He just gets a run on the bottom, but he cannot get by without that top groove. Last lap was a little bit better.
Back in Texas, the leader of the race, Greg Biffle, has finally hit pit road for the vibration. Checking to see if it was a loose wheel. He said, when I come down pit road, look at the luck to the left side. If they look tight, let's just change 2. But Doug Richards said, we are going to go for 4. We are going to take the conservative approach. Right now, they're looking over the wheels, Bill, to see if indeed they were loose. Looks like possibly the left rear may have been loose on the 16 car.
Yeah, like I said, normally it takes about 7 or 8 laps to show up. And like BP says, it's normally left rear.
Because you tighten the lug nuts to the right. The torque of the wheels is trying to loosen the lug nuts. When you come off the corner, hit the throttle, that torque is trying to loosen them up on the rear. It tries to tighten them on the right rear.
Now, a couple of things to point out here. Biffle led 12 laps. He is the only driver not on the lead lap right now. So if the lucky dog was to be issued for after a caution, it would go to Biffle. And the leaders are about, I'd say, a half a mile away from lapping anybody at this point. So Biffle might be able to dodge the trouble here. We'll see what happens, and Matt will follow up on pit road. So back up front, Matt Kenseth recaptures the lead. So Matt leads. Time for a Through the Field presented by Speed Pass from Exxon and Mobil. And we'll start with Matt Kenseth and Marty Snyder.
Well, Bill, last week the DeWalt guys got it done on pit road. Several stops under 13 seconds. They just did another one on this past stop, 12.9. He came in first, went out first. Biffle passed him, and he did ask what happened to Biffle. They told him on the radio, so he's not concerned with his car. Very good right now, Alan.
Tony Stewart has picked up a few spots since the restart, up now to second. He's maintained all along through this championship chase that I'm not racing for points. I don't look at the points. How about with 3 races to go, Tony? You changed your approach now?
With only 3 weeks to go, it makes it probably easier on us to just worry about doing what we're doing. That's all we've been doing, you know, the whole chase anyway, is not worrying about where everybody else is, just doing what we need to do, and, you know, it's working. So it gives us the flexibility with 3 races to go to do what we do best, and that's just worry about going out and getting the most points possible.
The most points possible is when you lead the most laps and win the race. He hasn't led yet, but he is up to second. Matt?
After a disappointing finish last week at Atlanta with 16th, they felt like they needed to come in here, the 48 team, and step it up, and they sure did on that last pit stop, picking up 4 spots on pit road. The car a little free, Alan.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. started 10th. He is up to 4th place now, calling in a minute ago, saying his car needing a little bit more help turning. Earlier, he was commenting about having some trouble on the bumps, like right there when you go into the corners. Dave?
Mark Martin said the car is starting to come in. They loosened that car up a little bit on the stop, but it was really loose at the start of the run. Car operating very well for Mark right now. The 5 of Kyle Busch, once he got his car back under control from all that looseness, is running pretty well. Just trying to maintain his position right now and have his car come to him as well. Marty?
Well, Dave, the 24 team has lost the handle on this race car. Jeff just came on the radio a couple laps ago, said we are terrible on speed. I cannot pick up the throttle at all. He let the 5 car go earlier, made a little contact when he went by him. Jeff having a tough time with a very tight race car. Denny Hamlin signed a long-term contract this week with Joe Gibbs Racing, announced this morning. As Bill told you earlier, the car very good for Hamlin. A little bit tight. They put a pound in the right rear on the last stop. Dave?
A little confusion in Mike Bliss's pits at 37, and Mike Skinner was in the way. They didn't make any changes on this chassis. Woody Barker, the crew chief, radioing back to Mike, you know, even though your car was loose, if I make you tight in the middle, you'll yell at me. So they didn't do anything. Alan?
I won't yell. Carl Edwards isn't yelling either because he started 30th, and he's already cracked the top 10 into the 10th spot on the pace laps just before the green. He gave his team a little pep talk.
All right, guys, let's have a good, fun day. Just be patient. Our car is good enough. I'm going to be patient, and we should have an awesome day. So thank you guys for the opportunity. Thanks, Mom, for being here. Love you.
Never hurts to thank Mom, does it? Carl is being very patient. He said a lack of patience, getting in too much of a hurry, is what hurt him in the April race here. Matt?
Casey Mears just running outside the top 10 and 11. Loves these high-speed racetracks. Had a top 5 here in the spring. Hoping for more good things here today. The car a little tight on exit, but it's getting better, Dave.
Michael Waltrip's team trying to give him a win yet this season before he leaves Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. Thought they might have it at Charlotte until he tangled with Jamie McMurray late in that race. Trying again today to have a top 10, top 5, or even a winning car, Marty.
Well, Dave, in the last 2 Texas races for Rusty Wallace, he's finished 10th and 5th right now. Kind of struggling with a tight race car. Did not have a very good pit stop either. They did go up a quarter round on the track bar, trying to loosen up Rusty's car. It's still tight on this run as well, Dave.
And the same for Jeremy Mayfield's car. That was a condition before the pit stop. He restarted 6th, and he's gone backwards. Still having trouble turning that race car. the 29 of Kevin Harvick today. Most cars on the racetrack today are carrying a number 62 decal. That in honor of Kevin's father-in-law who passed away this week, John Paul Linville. All teams honoring him. He was a Busch Series competitor that they all thought very highly of. Matt?
Dave, pressure continues to build for the 25 team, knowing they only have 3 races left to try to score that first win this year for Brian Vickers. Now the car is tight, especially in traffic, and it's loose across the bumps. Dave?
Kurt Busch's team trying to correct the conditions on his car real tight during the first stop, and hopefully they've got some of that corrected as he tries to move his way through this field. Marty?
Busch Series Championship leader Martin Truex Jr. making his final Nextel Cup start of the season. He will be a rookie next year, so they're trying to save those races. They told him to be a little more aggressive when he came to his pit stall next time. Car's a little bit tight for Truex in that one car. Matt?
Now, a unique paint scheme for the 88 of Dale Jarrett. His kids, young son Zach, age 10, and daughters Natalie and Carson, helped design his paint scheme for Toys R Us. Now, DJ hoping to add another victory to his Texas racing resume, won here back in 2001. The Ganassi cars, especially the Silver 40 of Sterling Marlin, had great runs here in the spring, but like many cars, fighting a little tight condition, especially in the center of the corner. Schneider?
Well, Matty, as you know, Elliott Sadler won here last April, but right now he does not have a winning race car. A little bit too tight for Elliott, and he kind of scolded the team. He said, next stop, guys, let's take some time. Let's fix this thing, because right now we're going nowhere except backwards. Matt?
And sticking with a known factor, they brought a very productive race car. The car that has a lot of top 10 finishes here. This is the 14th race for the 42 car, this particular chassis. The car, though, tight like his teammate Sterling Marlin. Meanwhile, the 07 Dave Blaney. Now, the cars out of the RCR stable look very strong in final practice, including Blaney's 07 car. He's a little tight on exit, but they made some change in the last stop, especially air pressure has seemed to help, Alan.
Casey Kane, normally someone you expect to see running up toward the front on these fast racetracks, running back in 24th spot now. They started the race in 15th. He called in and talked about his car in different situations in traffic. I'll save you the long explanation and say it just wasn't good. Ryan Newman trying to pick his way up from the tail end of the field in this backup car. Ryan calling in a moment ago saying his car needs a little more help turning in the corner. I would call this slow but steady progress for one of the championship contenders. Bill?
Thanks, Alan. Outstanding job, you guys, getting us through the top 25 cars. There are 40 cars on the lead lap. Jimmy Spencer has been knocked off the lead lap. He is the highest running car not on the lead lap, and that means he would be the lucky dog. If the caution comes out, he's racing Greg Biffle for that position. 65 laps are complete. Let's get an update from Matt.
And one of the championship contenders, Greg Biffle, now he's trying to race his way back in to contention. Now, while he had a pep talk from his crew chief, Doug Richard, after that was over, Doug had the entire team switch over to Channel 2. He gave the pit crew a pep talk, reminded them why they are one of the best teams in the business, wants them to shake off their pit road miscue that cost them that lap, put it all back together, and it was indeed a loose left rear, like I mentioned before.
Thank you very much, Matt. So Biffle has a lot of work to do. Matt Kenseth up front at Texas. You're watching the Dickies 500 live on NBC.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Series racing from Texas Motor Speedway is brought to you by Principal Financial Group. We'll give you an edge. By Dodge, you can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. By Lowe's, where you'll find all your home improvement needs. Lowe's, where improving home improvement never ends. And by the 3,600 CarQuest Auto Parts stores across North America.
72 laps complete here at Texas. Matt Kenseth continues to lead over Tony Stewart and Jimmie Johnson. Here's our Wendy's race menu. And that's all that's left on the menu for 2005. Phoenix next Sunday, and then 2 weeks, the season finale at Homestead, Miami. 3 o'clock Eastern time on NBC next Sunday and in 2 weeks. And then we'll crown the champion.
Walking through the garage here this morning, someone said, next time by, 2 to go.
That's right. 2 races left after today.
Now Kenseth is knocking him down. That's not good news for Biffle right now, because he's putting a car a lap down just about every other lap.
Now then, what Biffle needs to happen is go through a full cycle of green flags. All these cars have to stop on the green flag. And then after everybody stops, caution flag come out. Puts him back in the game again.
A little bit of that luck.
A little bit that he talked about. That's right.
This is a good day for Matt Kenseth. His crew chief, Robbie Reiser, was not here on Friday. Robbie's dad, John Reiser, has been ill. Robbie spent the day with his father on Thursday, and Matt Kenseth called Robbie Thursday night and said, do not come down here. We will get through this day without you. And qualifying, Robbie told me this morning it's the first time he's ever missed a day at the racetrack, but Matt wanted to make sure he spent the day with John Reiser, his father. John and Alice wanted to let you know they're thinking about you down here in Texas today. Robbie flew in on Saturday morning. He said they were watching some of the coverage on TV on Friday in the hospital, and John Reiser looked down at his watch and then looked at his son and goes, I told you you're supposed to be there. And Robbie said, nope, I'm going to spend the day with you. Today, Matt Kenseth out front. Jimmie Johnson in the 48, Matt Kenseth in the 6. Johnson runs third. I'm sorry, Mark Martin in the 6. What'd I say, Matt? Yeah, Mark in the 6 underneath the 48, and we go to Matt Yoakum on the 48.
And the 6 of Mark Martin just goes by. Now, Jimmie was saying his biggest issue is the car is starting to get free, especially down in 3 and 4. It's a little bit on the edgy side, too, Dave.
And as for Mark Martin right now, they've been talking a lot about the changes they want to make on the next stop. And they're very similar to the changes they made last week at Atlanta, where Mark finished third. Quarter round of wedge, very minor chassis adjustment, little air out of the left side tires. That helps the car turn a little bit. So very similar, even though these tracks aren't exactly the same, Wally, the same stuff works.
Keep an eye on that. As the temperatures change here, it'll be a little bit different than last week, but
Martin Truex Jr. in the 1 car inside the 24 of Jeff Gordon. How about it, Marty?
Well, the car has just been terrible in this run for Jeff Gordon. At lap 49, he radioed the crew. It's starting to get tight. That time, he was running 6th. Now Jeff Gordon is running 16th, and here's what he had to say on the radio.
Way worse than it was, guys. Just way worse. Everything middle off. I'm good getting into the center. Just middle off. A horrendous push. Hey, boy, just keep doing the best you can. We're going to have to get it better for you. Just get up to that pit stop. We're going to work on it.
If you look right in front of his left rear, there's a valence that keeps the car, keeps the air under, keeps the car stuck to the racetrack. It's sticking out. See, he had contact with somebody.
That's right. So we see a wheel mark right in front of that left rear tire, and you're right, Wally.
That's hurting the downforce right there, his car. So that's probably why. See it right there. That's the piece, and that actually creates a vacuum almost like to the racetrack. Helps the car stick.
Now watch this. See if this is what caused it.
Well, it's not there now. We see the Pepsi GMAC. It's clean.
That would do it. Wow. That would do it. That's just like a can opener.
Dave?
And his teammate Kyle Busch said, hey, he hit me, but he knew that Jeff didn't see him there, and it hasn't damaged Kyle's car very much. Marty?
And Dave, Jeff was not too happy about that. He said, you know, we're horrible handling-wise. I'm just letting cars go by. There was no need for him to make contact with me. I left him plenty of room.
Well, we've seen that 5 car isn't exactly the most stable car out there today either. So Gordon continues to struggle. Falling back in the field. Up front, Matt Kenseth, Tony Stewart, Mark Martin, Jimmy Johnson, and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Whoa! Biffle!
Hasn't hit.
Oh, there goes Bliss sliding through. Man, I can't believe those guys didn't hit anything. Biffle started this right way back in 3. It's not where he needed that yellow, BP.
No.
There's Bliss.
He definitely did not need this caution flag. That's right. He needed this thing to run green for a while. See some damage on the back of the 0 car.
Biffle just started losing this thing off of 4, and it did one of those tank slappers where it goes left, right, left, right. You're doing everything you can, and finally it just goes too far. It just gets loose, tries to save it. This is actually further down. It started way back, but I'm not sure why Bliss went through the grass.
We can take you on board with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Down on the pit stop.
Saved it, caught it, saved it, caught it. All right. Nice job by Junior, too, because I'm sure where to go on that one. He just slid up. You're already loose here. Slide up in front of a car. That takes the air off your spoiler like we were talking about earlier on the Home Depot Virtual Garage. He just lost traction, and now he's doing everything he can just to hang on to it.
That was a nice job by Earnhardt.
It was. He did a good job because, not like I said, Biffle came back and forth a bunch of times.
An inexperienced driver in Earnhardt's position would have spun out because they'd have jumped on the brakes and spun out. He just waited to see which way he was going.
He rolled out of the throttle, exactly. Just let it happen in front of him.
Alan, were you listening in?
Yeah, and you know what he said after all that got done? After he caught his breath?
Wow.
He said, oh, that was close.
He's right, it was. Okay, they're coming down pit road again. Dave Burns.
And Mark Martin was ahead of all that in position 3. He comes in now to make those small adjustments that he talked to his team about. Again, air pressure out of the left side tires, a quarter round of wedge into the right rear. 4-tire change. Matt?
And the 48, Jimmy Johnson, their team excellent on the previous stop, picked up 4 spots on pit road. The car was tight right there at the end. Air pressure adjustment, Snyder.
Leader Matt Kenseth said his car stayed better longer, but a little too tight at the end of that run. Half pound on the right front. Another great stop by that 17 bunch. AB.
Tony Stewart up to 2nd place. Wanted him to stop short in his box so he could swing around Ken Schrader. Very smooth 4-tire stop. Just some minor adjustments for the 20 car.
And another solid stop by Robbie Reiser's over the wall bunch on the car of Matt Kenseth. Under caution here at the Texas Motor Speedway, wild ride for championship contender Greg Biffle. Got a lot of work to go now.
Awesome. Yeah, we got the old mud hole starting to form. Kicking it. Nice job, guys. Picked up another couple spots, Mike.
Yeah, good job, everyone. Again, Mike, your tires look really, really good. You know, just let us know. You know, we're up pretty good on that right. We have some area there we can work with. Just let me know. Okay. Have you bottomed your front end out any since we started?
Yeah, all the time on the start.
It goes away pretty quick. It lasts a long time.
5, 6 laps, I guess.
All right. Does it mess you up, or can you deal with it?
I mean, I don't get past.
Field has just gotten the one to go here. This was a few moments ago on pit road, BP.
Lance Hanna, the tire carrier for the rear tire. Dave Smith, the tire changer. And watch this. Smith takes the tire off. Hanna slides it on, tightens it up, go. Those guys are so good.
Yep, of Elliott Sadler. Coming to NBC next Saturday, the Ford Ironman Triathlon World Championship. The world's best athletes accept the challenge of a 2-mile swim, a 112-mile bike ride, and a 26-mile marathon, all in the same day. A typical day for Wally. That's the Ford Ironman Triathlon World Championship next Saturday, 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific on NBC.
When Greg Biffle spun in the 16 car just a moment ago, watch when the car gets sideways, backwards. Watch the roof flaps deploy and keep the back of the car on the ground. That's one of the best safety features NASCAR has come up with in a long, long time.
And that's on a Roush car, and who helped develop that?
Jack Roush.
That's absolutely right. And here's our Team Tylenol safety fact. Roof flaps are designed to disrupt airflow around the car, which helps eliminate lift.
Uh-oh.
And the rest of that. But like Benny said, it keeps the car on the ground.
That's right.
Matt Kenseth takes him to the green. I knew in the countdown to green this was going to be a weird day. Anytime Snyder's walking across the stage waving during driver introductions, it's going to be wild.
To the crowd he was waving,
yes,
not just anybody.
That's right.
And Greg Biffle is trying his best to get in line between Mark Martin and the 5 car. Could not make it.
Biffle 1 lap down.
And he's trying to get up to be the first car 1 lap down in case the caution flag should come out. And currently that position is being held by Kevin LePage.
Biffle in the 16, looking to the inside of the 5.
And he's got a couple guys. He's got to get by Labonte, LePage. Because Labonte's up there too.
Yep.
Biffle trying to find the fastest line. He's going to push Kyle Busch around Mark Martin. Biffle had a strong run here yesterday in the Busch race. Finished second. Kevin Harvick.
Evernham car hits pit road. Mayfield.
Boy, it has been a tough run for Jeremy Mayfield since the chase for the championship started. Unscheduled stop under green for Jeremy.
See him changing 4 tires just to make sure they get the right one.
38th last week, 28th the week before. Has had some real tough luck. It was a flywheel or something for him last week, wasn't it, Benny?
I don't really know. I didn't hear.
Matt, how about Biffle?
More issues for the 16. He just came on the radio. Biffle said, I believe we have another vibration. Possible wheel loose again.
Wow.
Well, I think they better check some impact wrenches because something isn't working correctly.
Once it's a shame, twice a shame on you.
That's Kevin LePage in the 66. Biffle needs to get by him. Then we'll try and chase down Terry Labonte. And now up front, Matt Kenseth and Tony Stewart on his bumper.
And Tony Stewart.
Here comes that making them loose in the front there, BP, because Stewart's car is good enough. He can get right up on Kenseth's bumper and get that car loose. He'll take the spot.
And you know that Matt Kenseth in 17 wants to keep that 20 behind him if he can, because he does not want Tony to get those 5 bonus points. But I don't see how he can keep him back. Tony's just too fast.
Stewart looks like he got on the apron a little bit there and got his car out of shape a little bit too.
Marty?
Hey, Bill, remember we were talking about Matt's #1 goal today? Get those 5 bonus points. Guess what number 2 goal was?
Make sure Tony doesn't.
Yeah, no, to lead the most laps, and he's done a good job of that so far. Trying to keep the 20 behind him, but Matt is loose at the beginning of this run and doesn't have very good car control. Car's very good at the middle and the end of the run, but Wally, when your car's a little loose, is it harder to keep someone that fast behind you?
Yeah, when your car's that loose, especially when you got somebody right on your bumper, it just makes it worse. So we'll see if he can hold off Tony, because I think if Tony gets close enough to him, he's going to lose that spot. And there he goes loose right there. So he is hanging on.
Alan, Tony's charging.
Yeah, Bill, and you and I know, but we'll just make sure everybody else does. The system for determining the champion includes 5 additional championship points if you lead a lap during the race. Pressure, pressure. Tony has scored more of those bonus points in the chase so far than any of his competitors. In fact, he has scored some 25 more of those 15 more bonus points than Greg Biffle, 25 more than Jimmie Johnson. He wants to get up, he wants to get those 5 bonus points. That just puts pressure on the other guys to have to get up front and lead a lap.
And you know what I like about this? Kenseth is not giving it to him. You know what I mean? I've seen so many guys pointing out the window here, take it, you know, and not teammates here. That Kenseth is doing everything he can right now. He's driving his butt off to try to keep Stewart behind him.
Matt has led 82 of 94 laps. Stewart has not led yet today. Greg Biffle led the other 12.
And you can see that wheel. You can see his hands on the wheel going to the right. When he goes to the right, that means the car's loose.
Kenseth started from the first spot on the grid after pole sitter Ryan Newman had to go to the back of the field in a backup car. Stewart started 16th. He's all over him.
There's loose again right there. Stewart's car is really good right now. In order for him to drive up right behind that close to Matt means that Tony's car is not pushing at all. He's not getting that aero tight.
And Tony looks like he's better down in 1 and 2 where there's shade on the racetrack. It looks like that he's gains on the 17 more there than he does up in 3 and 4. So watch these cars go down in turn 1. You see that racetrack is in the shade, and therefore the car does get a better grip.
Keeps it down low.
Just saying that Tony's car is a little bit lower. His cars can get down right on the white line, where Matt's car is a little bit off that white line. Alan?
Now, Wally, you and Benny were just talking about temperature changes in those shadows. Greg Zipadelli, Tony's crew chief, told me this morning they tracked the temperature changes here on Friday from the afternoon through about the part of the day where this race would be going on. Greg Zipadelli does not expect there to be significant changes in the way the car grips the track as those shadows grow. He said it's really going to be not as significant as I think we're all thinking when we got here this weekend.
Really?
That makes sense.
That's surprising.
Yeah, it surprised me too. Marty.
Hey, Alan, it's the same for everybody. Just to point out, Matt Kenseth just came on the radio and said when he comes off turn 4, there's pretty bad sun glare, so it's hard for him to see until he gets into the shaded area on the front stretch. So you'll notice when they come off turn 4, the sun is right in their eyes, and that's a problem. You can't see what's around him or in front of him.
That's never good.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And anytime that you have a race that goes into darkness as the sun sets, you have that problem.
And we've never had that here because we've never done this here before.
Now, this is the battle for being the first car 1 lap down. Under NASCAR rules, if you are that car, caution flag comes out, you're awarded a free pass to make up 1.5 miles. We call it the lucky dog.
Terry Labonte in the 44 car. His brother Bobby Labonte was the lucky dog under the last caution. Matt?
Bill, what a day Greg Biffle's had. He lost a lap due to a loose wheel, then he spun. Now a possible vibration with another loose wheel. The team waiting for him to hit pit road, but he hasn't said anything in about the last 4 or 5 laps. They have checked the impact guns just to make sure everything is okay with the PSI, but what a day they are having. They cannot afford that with 3 races to go. They came in here 75 points out of the lead, and time is quickly running out as this chase is winding down.
And Matt, right now he's 7th, 182 points out of the championship lead. Desperately needs to get around Terry Labonte. Dave?
Yeah, Bill, sorry it took so long to update you on the 19, but the guys were looking over the wheels on that car once, twice, 3 times. And I finally asked car chief Mike Shipley, I said, so do you have a loose why'd you have a vibration? Why did Jerry want to pit? He said, we really don't know. He said, we can't find anything really wrong with the holes in the wheels, like there was a tire left loose. We might have had a wheel weight fall off. Jeremy stays on the track now. They think they've corrected the problem, but tough for them. They were early on running very well.
41st right now, Dave. 1 lap down. Matt Kenseth up front has inched away from Tony Stewart. 102 laps on the board here at Texas.
Inside. Door, quarter, bumper, clear. To 24, then it's 3 back to 49, and then it's 6 more back to 01. On the low behind you. Inside. Inside of the door. Bumper, clear. Inside. Clear behind him, clear. Clear by 3 on the 49, and it's 8 back to 01. Clear by 1. Clear by 4. Clear by half. Clear by 2. Clear by 1 on the 49, and about 12 back to 15.
Right off of 2, loosen the both ends.
10-4. Running low behind you. Inside. Enter door. Inside of your quarter. Go there. Inside. You're clear behind the 49 if you want it. Inside. Clear behind it. Inside. At your door. Inside. Clear behind him. Clear. Outside. This bumper clear. Clear by 8 on the 15.
Texas Motor Speedway, the Great American Speedway here in Fort Worth. There's Matt Kenseth in the 17 car, the race leader. Until today, the most laps he'd led here at Texas, 85 back in 2002 when he won the race. But already today, Matt has led 96 of 108 laps. He runs first, back and forth. Jimmy Johnson. Race fans, visit LowesRacing.com today for your chance to win up to $48,000 in the When Jimmy Wins, You Win sweepstakes. Just visit LowesRacing.com for all the details. We can take you through the field. We'll start with Matt Kenseth, and here's Marty Snyder.
That's a nice, easy Sunday drive for Matt Kenseth so far, leading all these laps except for 12. They've used their final test of 2005 to get ready for this race. Obviously, it worked. Car out front and looking nice and easy. Alan?
And Tony Stewart a little bit frustrated, I think, at not being able to get around Matt Kenseth and lead a lap for those bonus points. His crew chief, Greg Zipadelli, telling Tony a bit ago to just save his stuff. This race kind of has a green flag look to it, and they got to make sure they've got some tires left at the end of the run, Dave.
Kyle Busch's car was tight and loose. He says it wouldn't turn the corner, and then when I got to the end of the corner, it would go whoop toward the wall. That was his description. They made an adjustment for that. Matt?
Now, earlier in the race, Jimmy Johnson's the car was a little bit on the edgy side. The takeoff, though, was good and then went a little bit tight. But as you can see by looking at the top 6 with 5 chasers there, Jimmy said this year, the chase, you have to be almost perfect.
The hardest part is just been
really to perform every week. I mean, everybody keeps stepping it up, and it's so tough to gain a lot of points on anyone. So I'm really amazed how every team, you've got the Roush cars, the 20, everybody has just been so strong, and that's been the challenge. You can't be off one weekend, you'll lose too many points.
On their last stop, Chad Knaus and the Lowe's boys, they pulled a spring rubber out of the left rear and a small air pressure adjustment, Dave. That car running very solid.
Not solid right now for Mark Martin, Matt. He said, I don't like it on this run. Change the air pressure back to the way it was. Change the wedge back to the way it was. They're basically wanting to start back at ground zero, back at square one where they were before, to see if they can get a reading on this car. Alan?
Well, with the exception of Matt Kenseth, who's done all the leading, the drive of the day goes to Carl Edwards. 30th now, up to 6th. Already planning what they're going to do on their next pit stop. Carl constantly in conversation with his crew chief, Bob Osborne. Matt?
Running back in 7th, the 41, Casey Mears says, must be something on the grill because the water temperature is climbing quickly. The car, though, he says, is very close where it needs to be as far as setup. Just need to free it up just a tick, Alan.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has slipped back a few spots in this last run of the race, Matt. He is complaining about his car not turning as well as he'd like it to in the center of the corner. That's keeping him from getting into the gas as quickly as he'd like, and that costs a lot of ground here. Marty?
Alan Rusty Wallace trying to snap a 3-race streak without a top 10. His car's been loose, but he wanted to pull some tape off on the last stop. Larry Carter, crew chief, talked him out of that because it's going to get cooler tonight. They'll need that tape on the front grill instead. They went with a wedge adjustment, trying to tighten him up. The car's been better, though. Matt?
Brian Vickers has really picked it up in the second half of the season, improving his average finish by 9 spots. Right now, the car starts out really loose on new tires, and then slowly gets better and better. Just a little tight in the center, especially in traffic, Snyder.
Denny Hamlin has a well-handling race car, Matt, but the problem was their pit stop came in 6th and out 12th. A lug nut hung on the right front. The car's a little bit tight. They made an air pressure and track bar adjustment on the last stop, trying to slowly work his way through the field. Dave?
Marty, I think when you talked with Kevin Harvick earlier today, starting 33rd, you thought he might have a chance to move his way toward the front. He's certainly done that. He's had a car that's had trouble turning, but they've made some adjustments. He's all the way up to the 12th position. Marty, back to you.
Good job for Martin Truex Jr. today, Dave. Started 27th. Currently, he's up in the 13th position. The car right on the bottom line. That's exactly where Martin wants it. On the last stop, they made no changes because Martin said, I don't think you can make it any better, guys. Dave?
Kurt Busch's car has not been that great today. I asked Jimmy Fenning this morning, how are you leading now that the championship is pretty much out of the question? And he said, you know what? We're still just trying to win and move as far as up in the points as we can. And Kurt has that attitude, too. He's a racer. Marty?
Well, Dave, remember earlier we told you how Elliott Sadler was not happy with his race team, said we need to make some drastic changes on this next stop, so they obliged 4 different rounds of wedge in and out of that race car on the last stop. It has come to life. Also an air pressure adjustment. He's up in 15th, Matty.
Marty, just the opposite for Sterling Marlin, one of the Ganassi drivers. He runs in the 16th position. No change to the car is really good. Let's just ride it for a while. Meanwhile, his teammate, the 42, Jimmy Murray, trying to lock down that $1 million bonus for finishing 11th. They made some small changes on the last stop. Just a track bar and air pressure. The car was a little loose on entry. And Dale Jarrett trying to score one more win here at Texas in the 88 car. The car's a little bit tight from the center to exit. Marty?
Well, Matt, Jeff Gordon's still struggling with his tight race car. Here's what they did on the last stop. It took them 20 seconds, and here's why. They put a spring rubber in the right rear spring, pulled a spring rubber out of the left rear spring, and fixed that valence where Kyle Busch hit him earlier. Jeff radioed to the crew a little while ago, said, you know what, guys? We're halfway there, almost. Dave?
Michael Waltrip asked crew chief Tony Gibson, hey, can you help my car turn a little bit better? Boy, did he. It was way too loose at the start of that run. It's coming to him a little bit now, but he said, don't go that far next time. Alan?
Ken Schrader has come about halfway up through the field from his 41st starting spot. Schrader earlier in the race called in, said they had an exhaust leak and the engine was down on horsepower. Then just after the last pit stop, he said, can you believe it somehow fixed itself? Ryan Newman complaining about the handling of his car, saying just a few minutes ago that his car is really tight in the center of the corners, and then calling in a little bit later and saying now it's loose entering the corners. Well, that means he's afraid to turn the steering wheel when he gets into the corner, that the back end's going to spin out. Dave?
When Greg Biffle brought out the caution on lap 81, Mike Bliss slid into the grass, didn't get hit by anybody, but just trying to miss the whole thing, lost control of his car. They were on pit road, made any little repairs they needed to, got him back out. He stays in the lead lap. Matt?
And Ricky Rudd rounding out the top 25 in the 21 car. Now, Fatback McSwain told me last night, he said, we have a very good car. It's It's just not quick on the get-go, but it's very consistent. And that's exactly what it's shown today. Just still a little bit on the tight side, Snyder.
Man, a good little race here between Ricky Rudd and Kyle Petty, and Kyle's been running much better, and that's good to see the 45 car running up front. He's been a little bit tight, but he said, you know what happens? We give up so much ground in the beginning of the run with our car being loose. That's how these guys get so far away from us. Lap times, not too bad, and he repasses Ricky Rudd for 24th. Bill.
Thanks, guys. Those are the top 25 cars. There are 33 cars on the lead lap. The first car scored 1 lap down is Greg Biffle. So if the caution was to come out, Biffle right now would get the lucky dog. Everyone chasing Matt Kenseth at Texas.
Flat, halfway on the fuel run right there. Flat. 31-10. Flat, 20-30 in front of you. Flat, leader, 31-20. Leader run a 15.
Transform the way you watch NASCAR. NBC and Sony HD TV proudly present today's race in high definition. Matt Kenseth leads by 1.2 seconds over Tony Stewart. 127, now 128 laps complete.
You see Kenseth going around in turn 1. Before race, he's picked up some point positions, but I've been watching the score monitor, and I'll tell you, the fellow back in 4th place, Casey Mears, showing a lot of speed. Last time by, he was 1/4 of a second faster than Matt Kenseth. Nemechek, the 01 car, is already down 1 lap. He will be 2 down when we get. Whoa! Wow! What's that all about?
I think he might think he has a problem. There comes Casey Mears. Yeah,
41 car. He's Matt 41 car going to town.
BP, he's really moving to the front. In fact, you look at the lap times. One of the fastest race cars, even into the 30s now. You look at the roller coaster week he had last week in Atlanta. but he has really looked strong on these type of racetracks. He loves these high-speed racetracks. The last 6 races, this team has really come on, scoring 3 top 10s, a 10th at Dover, 8th at Kansas, and a 6th at Charlotte. The 6 and the 99 teammates battling for position.
Wasn't much of a battle, Matt. 99 just goes by Mark Martin. Carl Edwards takes his spot away.
I think like the guys are talking about, Mark's not really happy with what he's got right now.
No, and you know, he was so, everyone was so optimistic this morning about the 6 car. Felt like he was going to be the car to beat. It's not working out exactly the way they had drew it up on the drawing board.
How about it, Dave?
And Bill, he even thought he might have had some contact on the right side of that car that would have caused the handling to go away, a dent. But, you know, just a small dent of some sort. He asked his spotter, Eddie Pardue, take a good close look at it and see if you see anything. And then he said, no, I think you're okay. So it must just be the adjustments that they've done to this car. And again, as I mentioned, they're going to try to take him back out on the next stop.
Mark is about 8.5 seconds behind Matt Kenseth. There's Jack Roush. He owns the 6 car. And the 99 along with the 17 and the others you see there. What are you working on, Alan?
Just listening to Carl Edwards there a second, Bill, and this unlikely pursuit of a championship continues with a very strong run today. His spotter, Bobby Hudson, just told him over the last 10 laps, you've gained about 10 car lengths on the leader, Matt Kenseth. His crew chief, Bob Osborne, followed up and told him he's running about a half to a full 10th of a second quicker than the leader in each of these last laps. He keeps chipping away.
Still not running as fast as that 41 car. Man, Casey Mears is going.
We could be approaching some green flag pit stops here at Texas, so we'll work in a break right here. If trouble breaks out, we'll break in. You're watching NASCAR live on NBC.
'77. 177. 177. 177. 177. 21, 23 and the leader.
we're getting to the point in the season now where, you know, a win's not as important as just beating the guys that we're racing for the championship with.
I hope I have it all figured out. We'll find out before long.
Just if the caution flags fall when they need to, and we have a good run, not make any mistakes, I think we'll be in good shape.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Here we are being introduced to the rest of the world.
Okay, now, I do want you to notice, folks, that that is a wave from our Marty to the crowd when the crowd went wild.
So now it's driver and pit reporter introductions during the pre-race ceremonies, huh? But he brought Matt Kenseth some good luck. Marty wants to add, but that's too bad, and we're not going to let him.
No. My microphone's open, Weber. I was waving to all of your fans, Weber, and those two people asked me to wave to them. So that's it. Here you go, folks.
That was cheap. That was you had 140 laps to work on it, and that's the best thing you could come up with?
This is the first I've heard about this, Weber.
Yes.
Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr.
This is early.
We'd heard that he might have some kind of problem. Alan, what is it?
Sacco talked about a small vibration for about the last 7 or 8 laps. I think they just decided they didn't want to take a chance on it. They're within 5 laps of when they would pit anyway. So here he comes, and they'll make a 4-tire change and try and help him a little bit with the handling of the car.
45 miles an hour down pit road to his stall.
Going up, I don't see anything on the right front tire. Right side is down. Brian Smith, Jag Man goes around to the left side, throws that jack under it, gets the car up. Boy, these guys are so good.
So Junior heads back out. And as Alan said, that's a little earlier than most of the guys were planning on stopping. But Elliott Sadler now on pit road, and he's headed toward our favorite guy from driver introductions, Marty Snyder.
Thank you, Mr. Weber. And Elliott's car still very tight in the middle of the corner. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment. They're also going to make a wedge adjustment on the left side, trying to loosen that car up. And they're trying to get all those tires back over the wall for the 3018. And a good stop going for these guys so far. Middle of the corner off, 12.5, awesome. Elliott said that middle of the corner off, he's just getting killed by these other guys. That's why they're trying to make the car better. But a nice stop by the 38 bunch.
A terrific stop by the 38 crew.
Working lap 145 now.
These guys will all start coming in now, I think, pretty soon.
Kenseth has led 131 of the 144 laps.
Kevin Harvick comes off pit road, off the racetrack, onto pit road, coming down to Dave Burns.
And Benny, he's fallen out of the top 20. Not a good run for them. In fact, the car started out, so it was loose, and then it got so tight, Kevin said, the car is plowing. I can't even drive the thing. They're going to make a big adjustment on the car this time. 4-tire change. Matt, Casey Mears coming to you.
Dave having a great run, very impressive, trying to score his first career win in Nextel Cup. The Target guys up on the wall waiting for the 41 to pull to a stop, and he does. He said the car was near perfect on that last run. No changes for this stop. Marty Forcier, the tire carrier, comes around to Dave.
Mark Martin still diagnosing his car. He thinks maybe now the right front of spring might have given up, his own words. The car is leaning on it, smoking through the corners. They make the adjustments they talked about, Matt.
And the Wood brothers hitting the 21 car. Air pressure adjustment for Ricky Rudd as the 40 as Sterling Marlin is already in away. His car was good, just like his teammate. No changes there. They're waving the 21. He's away. Snyder.
Rusty Wallace comes to pit road running in the top 10 in that run. Matty said his car was a little tighter than he would like, especially at the end of that run. They had talked about making a track bar adjustment. They're going to go with a wedge adjustment and an air pressure adjustment instead for the 2 car, and it will be a 4-tire stop for Rusty Wallace. Jeff Gordon also coming down pit road. He said, guys, I'm getting back to the gas at least 2 seconds later than everybody else. We cannot have that for the rest of this day, so it will be a wedge and air pressure adjustment for Jeff Gordon. The car extremely tight from the middle of the corner off. He said it's worse in 3 and 4 than it is in 1 and 2, and a kind of a long stop for the 24 bunch, Alan.
Carl Edwards is going to get a track bar adjustment. You'll see the wrench there going into that bottom hole in the right rear side of the windshield, and they've done that. 4-tire change, trying to help the handling on that 99 car. Marty.
Well, the 17 bunch is making it look easy today. Matt Kenseth, very smooth sailing out there. The only thing he said is, you know, guys, I could probably be a little bit faster at the beginning of the run. Cars really loose at that point. Robbie Reiser will make an air pressure adjustment. He's going to add half a pound to the right rear tire, trying to get that looseness out at the beginning of the run, and a little bit longer on the left front than they would have liked for the 17 bunch.
And with the 17 coming to pit road, Tony Stewart stays out and leads a lap, gets 5 bonus points.
And as soon as that happens, he comes down pit road to get his 4 tires of fuel. Alan?
Yeah, Greg Zipadelli just warned Tony that being the first green flag pit stop of the day, be careful of your pit road speed. Last thing you want to do is get busted for speeding on pit road and have to come back in under the green flag. A 4-tire stop for Stewart, and they will send him on his way. They're watching for Ken Schrader to try and pit in front of him to make sure they can give Tony a clear route out of his pit and back onto the racetrack. There he goes.
Schrader pulls in behind him, so that's okay. Now Jimmie Johnson to pit road. Johnson also able to stay out, lead a lap, get 5 bonus points, and he heads toward Matt.
And the Lowe's guys, Bill, up on the wall, waiting for Jimmy to pull the 48 in. He's had great runs here at Texas, never finishing worse than 9th. He was 3rd here in the spring. Now Jimmy says the car is tight all the way through the corner. You can see the wedge wrench in the back window. They're going to make a track bar adjustment, significant track bar adjustment. Timmy Latiga going to work on that left rear, hits those lugs, pulls that off, and he is away. They put a spring rubber in the right rear on this stop.
Usually when you see a 17, 18-second pit stop in NASCAR Nextel Cup racing, that means that they made some changes during that pit stop. That takes longer than usual.
And that was a long stop. Matt talked about the change they made, so Johnson heads back out. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8, Kyle Busch in the 5. That's back for 5th now. Waiting for the scoring to cycle around. All this happening 151 laps into the race.
Kyle Busch, I think, entered when the pit stop started. The 5-car Kyle Busch was running 4th, and he's back in 4th now.
So Earnhardt and Busch battle. Matt Kenseth continues to lead. Tony Stewart 2nd. Casey Mears with a strong run to 3rd. Updating some of the other drivers, Ryan Newman runs in the 24th spot. Greg Biffle back in 31st. Alan?
Tommy Baldwin, Casey Kane's crew chief, told me this morning, we have got to get a top 10 finish today. They've had to come back down pit road under the green flag for a 2nd stop. They're changing the battery. Some electrical problems on the 9 car.
A good day for the 9, the 19, or Bill Elliott in the 91. The Evernham Motorsports rides. Cycled back to Matt Kenseth, the race leader. He has led 137 of the 153 laps here at the Texas Motor Speedway in the Dickies 500.
Clear. Flat. Around this one, you got a big opening. Clear. Out of way, buddy. Out of way. .30, 30.58 on the leader.
30 feet and the leader. You got the leader.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Series racing from Texas Motor Speedway is brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR. This is Budweiser. This is beer. By Sony. Transform the way you watch racing with Sony, the world's greatest high-definition television. By Propane. Propane exceptional energy. And by State Farm. Great service, great rates. That's why 40 million drivers trust State Farm.
Under green here at the Great American Speedway. A lot of things going on. Matt Kenseth continues to lead. There's a new driver in second place. Casey Mears has gotten around Tony Stewart, who slipped to third. There's Casey in the 41 ride.
And I tell you what, it's not going to be long till the 41 car takes the lead. Man, he's fast.
Yes, he is. The 9 of Casey Kane has gone to the garage.
So Mike Skinner, the 37 car, is coasting towards the garage area.
Time to work in our singular Race Talk $1,031 challenge question. Which track will Jeff Gordon win on first of the 4 he has not won at? Today here at Texas, Phoenix, Homestead. We'll go back to Chicago to next summer. Vote, text the word race to 191 on your singular wireless phone or go to NASCAR.com. You'll also be entered for a chance to win $1,031. Gordon right now in 23rd position. There's Greg Biffle. He is the first car a lap down. Matt Kenseth is the race leader. There's Carl Edwards passing Mark Martin.
Mark still just can't get that 6 car exactly where he wants it.
Just went through a round of green flag pit stops. So Greg Biffle has worked his way back onto the lead lap. Had to pit early in the race for a vibration for a loose left rear wheel.
And he talked about in the pre-race show, he needed for the caution flags to come out at the right time. Right now, for him, would be the right time.
Tony Stewart, third place, 2 seconds behind race leader Matt Kenseth. Alan?
Just made his first call in on the radio since the pit stop. BP asked during a commercial break if there was something up with the 20 because he fell back to third. He said a little too free this time, meaning he's got a little bit of a lack of rear-end grip on the car. But that may change as they run more laps on this set of tires and the air pressures get built up by the heat and the friction with the racetrack. They'll wait and see.
Carl Edwards chasing Kyle Busch. That's for 4th, and Edwards has it. So Carl Edwards, a winner a week ago in Atlanta, and is currently 3rd in the championship standings. 2 races to go in the chase for the Nextel Cup after today. On board with Kyle.
Here we go.
As predicted, BP.
Man, Casey Mears to the front.
So he knocks Matt Kenseth back to 2nd. Kenseth has led 149 laps of the 164 today. Mark Martin around Kyle Busch.
We see the cars going down in turn 1. You see the shadows. Interesting to see as they come off turn 4 if the sunlight is a problem for these guys. On board with Kyle Busch as he follows Mark Martin. Now, here, if there's going to be a problem, it will be here. Yeah, a little bit, not too bad.
It's easy for you to say. You're up here.
That's right. It used to be a problem, Bill, but not anymore.
Dave?
With Casey Kane now in the garage area. Casey, you guys are going to work. Are you done or not?
I'm not real sure. I think a alternator belt came off or something there. I don't know. We were kind of struggling anyways with our Dodge Steelers UAW Dodge Charger, but Who knows? Maybe they'll get it fixed. We'll be able to get some more laps out there and maybe get Stanley, McDonald, some of them guys a little more.
You have any idea? Is it similar to what Jerry Mayfield had last week? I guess he had a flywheel go.
Yeah, totally different than that. I started losing power and then smoke, and I guess the alternator belt came off, so totally different than that. But I just kind of back there racing with Bill, and I don't know where Jeremy was, but I don't know if he was very much better than what we were.
Tough day for Casey. Also, Mike Skinner in the garage area right now. They said they had a mechanical problem underneath the car, which occurred during the pit stop. They have parked it for the day.
Carl Edwards around Tony Stewart for third, and Carl is going somewhere, BP.
He is definitely going somewhere. Been watching the speeds on the monitor, and he's the fastest car now, the 99.
Alan?
Well, Carl Edwards being in just his first full year of Nextel Cup racing and contending for the championship, you might think he'd be very nervous about this time of year. But Carl said this weekend here at the Texas track, I don't feel any pressure from the outside. In fact, I'm a little bit maybe too happy-go-lucky. Maybe I'm having a little bit too much fun. Carl, I asked him earlier on Saturday, do you really think you have a shot at winning this championship now that you're 7 races into it?
To me, I give myself a lot better chance to win this championship now than I did 7 races ago. And that's just because of the unknown. I mean, you never know what's going to happen and all the circumstances. I still don't think we're as good a team as we're going to be. And if we were to win this thing, we'd be backing into it. But that's not going to stop us from trying our very hardest. But definitely is a different mindset right now than it was at the beginning of the chase.
As well it should be. Carl right now came into this race 4th in the championship. He is hanging in there. And guys, he keeps having runs like this. You never know what might happen 3 races from now.
How great is that? I mean, how honest is that? If we won it, we'd be backing into it. Tony Stewart continues to go backwards.
Yeah. I don't want to go that far. You don't back into a championship these days.
Rusty Wallace in 10th. Jimmy Johnson trying to take that spot.
Remember, Jimmy Johnson made a lot of changes on that last pit stop. He's now trying to work his way back to the front.
And we saw Casey Mears put Biffle 1 lap down. Mears is the race leader. Matt?
Just jumped up into the 10th position, Bill. Now, he came on the radio about 7 laps ago, and all he said was loose. And Chad said, that's great. We love loose, because they've been battling tight most of the day. Snyder?
Well, Matt, on the last stop for Rusty Wallace, the air pressure and wedge adjustment, he liked a whole lot. He called to the team and said, hey, guys, we made big improvements that time. It's still a little bit tight, but the car is certainly better. Rusty trying to get back in the top 10, and he's had 3 straight weeks of bad luck, hasn't he, Bill?
He sure has. Now, Mears leads. Kenseth has led the most laps twice this season. At Chicagoland and at Bristol. He won at Bristol and finished 2nd in Chicago. He's the 3rd driver this season to lead 1,000 or more laps, but right now he's chasing the 41 car of Casey Mears. So Casey been carving his way through the field. Greg Biffle trying to get back on the lead lap. A lot of traffic and a long way to go at Texas.
.214, 248, 10-4.
Tonight on NBC, don't miss a Law & Order event, a 2-hour criminal intent movie. That's Law & Order Criminal Intent tonight after the live West Wing, 9, 8 Central, right here on NBC. Live racing on NBC right now. Casey Mears, the race leader.
As went to break just a moment ago, he was trying to put the 22 car, Scott Wimmer, a lap down. Well, he succeeded in doing that. But Biffle and Kenseth got back racing with the 22 car, and it was a sight to behold. By the way, we got a battle for second spot. Here comes Carl Edwards in that 99.
Kenseth, who has led 149 laps today, is going to fall to third.
Got it. Like last week.
Carl Edwards right now is third in the championship standings, 102 points out of the lead, and Carl has not led a lap today. There's Greg Biffle, who currently runs 30th. And his tough day got a little tougher, like you were talking about, Benny.
There we see him making contact with the 22 car, and he almost spun out down the backstretch to duplicate the spin down the front stretch.
And he's got the same damage that Jeff Gordon had, but on the right side of his car now.
Matt, what do you know about all this?
What a day he has had, Bill. He has spun. Now he's got issues on the right side, but the biggest problem he has right now, he's no longer in position for the lucky dog. The 45 of Kyle Petty is.
That's right, and he's also got Wimmer back there battling for that spot.
But, you know, we talked about Mark Martin today and how he's fallen back. Well, guess what? They've worked on that 6 car, and they've gotten it better. He's coming to the front. He's now 4th position and has been some laps about as fast as the leader.
And Mark, if his stuff is good, he really goes after it in the second half of these races. Caution is out. Debris in turn 2.
That's probably off of Biffle's car, I bet.
Kyle Petty gets the Lucky Dog Award. Wimmer, Biffle, Blaney, Bill Elliott, Bobby Labonte, Terry Labonte. The other car is 1 lap down, but Kyle gets the Lucky Dog Award. There's KP. Still trying to put together the paperwork for the sponsorship for both those Petty cars for 2006. Casey Mears leads Edwards, Kenseth, Mark Martin, and Tony Stewart. Take a look at the results from our Singular Race Talk poll. Of course, you can still text the word race to 191 on your Singular wireless phone, or go to NASCAR.com and enter for the money.
Looks like all states are watching.
Yes.
And looks like the fans are about the way I was thinking. I looked at that and I really didn't have a firm feeling on either one of them. Neither did the fans.
Hey, Wally.
Sure.
Not if she saw the ride yesterday.
Yeah. Now we got to make sure that Casey Mears and his crew can hold serve when they make this pit stop, change 4 tires, put some fuel in these cars.
184 laps are complete. Mears leads the field to pit road. Alan talked about it earlier. You don't want to get the pit road speeding penalty. We start with Dave and Mark Martin.
He comes to pit road once again, Bill. This time they would like to make the car a little bit free at the start of the run. Pat Tryson saying, I think we run better that way. That'll be an edge, wedge, and air pressure adjustment, Matt.
Casey took the lead back on lap 165, trying to keep up with this changing racetrack, making an air pressure adjustment in the rear tires. The car was tight, Snyder.
Matt and Matt Kenseth think alike because the racetrack is changing. Kenseth said it's getting tighter. That's what's making our car bad. Half pound on the right front tire. Alan.
Carl Edwards is going to get a track bar adjustment and an air pressure adjustment in his right rear tire. Going to be a good pit stop. Not going to win the race off pit road. And boy, was that close to contact.
We will have to go to the video replay.
The video says Mark Martin.
No, the computer says Mark Martin.
Well, the computer says Mark Martin. Let's check the video.
Are you going to believe your eyes or the video?
Yeah, looks like Mark has it.
They're seeing the video.
That's Mark. They got it right.
Way to go, BP. You're all over it. Mark Martin struggled with his car throughout the day, but 186 laps in, got the lead off of pit road.
Ryan, pressure builds that last run were 0.9 to the tight on the right, 2.8 to the front on the left.
10-4. 1 to go with this drive. They're saying you're in front of the 31, but 97, 12, 31.
Can you get any pressure out of the front at all, or are you too close?
We've only got a pound to work with on the right front.
Something in the right rear. I think we're just fighting dirty air. I got you, no problem. Just trying to think up here, that's all. 10-4.
In April of 2004, Elliott Sadler became the 8th winner in 8 Cup races at Texas, holding off Casey Kane at the line for the win. The margin of victory, 28 1/1000ths of a second. And for Kane, it was his second loss by less than a car length in 5 races. For more Wrangler 5-star finishes, log on to NASCAR.com. 187 laps in, and Mark Martin has worked his way to the front. Got some help getting there from his guys on pit road, and here they are.
Where are they, Bill?
They were here a second ago. I just saw them. I can look down there. I can see them from here. Pat Trison and company. Got them on. Maybe they're shy. They didn't want to be on TV.
That's what I was thinking.
They want to see the restart, then see if we can't find them. How's that, Wally? We'll fix that right now. Mark Martin beats Matt Kenseth and Casey Mears to the restart. 5 bonus points for Mark. Got him under the caution.
Oh, Mark slides up the track a little bit. Now Mears slides up the racetrack. He's going to lose his spot. Carl Edwards.
Oh, nice.
Tony Stewart trying to go on the inside of the 41 car. There he goes. And here comes Tony on the 99 car of Edwards.
Bill, just to follow up on Tony Stewart, we talked about his car lacking rear-end grip on that last run. They're now thinking maybe it was just a set of tires that didn't agree with the car. You know, these tires all kind of have personalities, and sometimes one set feels different than another. So they're hoping this set will be more agreeable to the way their chassis is set up.
Certainly looked like it on the first lap when we went back to green.
Dead battery all the way dead.
All the way dead battery. 17 car, Matt Kenseth.
That's Carl Edwards right in front of Matt, running second.
Probably not going to make it to the end because the first one is all the way dead. I got the second one out about my switches off right now.
He has gone to the second.
The other one ready.
Gone to the second battery, turned all the switches off. All the fans that are inside the car.
Ray Biffle in that 16 car is not on the lead lap. He and Bobby Labonte in the 18, both 1 lap down. Right now, Labonte would be your lucky dog. So Kenseth, one of the contenders in the chase for the Nextel Cup, started first today after qualifying third. With some issues, Marty.
Yeah, Bill, you guys were hearing it go down as the team was hearing about it. I was actually talking to Robbie Reiser when Matt radioed in, and surprise to Robbie. Now, they do run 2 batteries. You heard Matty has switched over to that backup batteries, but we have seen a rash of these electrical problems here late in the season. These cars are just drawing so much more power, Benny, than they used to, that they're draining these batteries and these alternators so much more quickly.
Well, what's happening, they've had a rash of tire problems. So a lot of teams are putting blowers on the front tires with fans to blow air on them to try to keep them cool and keep the tires living a little bit longer. When they do that, that draws a lot of juice.
That second battery is your insurance policy, hopefully, to be able to switch back to it. So we'll keep an eye on Matt. He's got Greg Biffle, his teammate, right behind him. Biffle desperately trying to get on the lead lap. Mark Martin continues to lead. His teammate Carl Edwards is second. Mark out front. His pit guys got him there. Wally, here they are.
Pat Tryson, Malvern, Pennsylvania.
Scott Bowen, Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Todd Ziegler, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Andy Rieger, Seymour, Indiana.
Will Smith, Seymour, Indiana.
Drew Blickensderfer, Mount Zion, Illinois.
Rick Machinsky, Toledo, Ohio.
Danny Eklund, Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Wayne Deloria, Biddeford, Maine, now Hickory, North Carolina.
And driver Mark Martin, right now 4th in the championship standings, 123 points out. 4 times he's finished 2nd in the championship standings, has never won the series title. Dave?
And Bill, you know they were working on the car, Mark, feeling like maybe the right front spring had given up. The adjustment they've been using most today is a wedge adjustment. That changes the attitude of the chassis a little bit, and they feel like that might be bringing it up off of the right front fender just a little bit. So Mark no longer complaining as much about that and really feels like the car has come back to him.
A lot of guys in the garage thought Mark Martin would be the guy to beat today, and right now he's out front. Jimmy Johnson, Elliott Sadler. Moves Johnson to 7th. Sadler thinking about trying to get it back, but won't. Jimmy sets off. What? Is that a tire rub?
Yeah. Left front tire rubbing the fender.
I think both of them were at that time, Benny. I get smoke coming out of the right front as well.
Alan, what are you working on down there?
Looking at Carl Edwards, you know, he lost a spot or 2 on that last pit stop, Bill. He's since made it back up to 2nd spot when Matt Kenseth slipped back. But Carl was talking to his team about having trouble getting around Dale Earnhardt Jr., who was parked in the pit box in front of him.
I can't stop on a sign when it's that far forward, Bob, in that situation. We got to move it back.
You mean too far forward from the start-finish line?
Yeah, just, you know, I'm too close to that 8 car. I can't get out.
The problem is you slid through the board, bud.
Oh, 10-4.
All right. Oh, well, never mind.
There we see him trying to leave the pits, and the 8 car there. That's why he lost all those spots.
Yeah, because he couldn't stay on the gas when he left the pits. He had to turn it real hard, get on the gas, then kind of let off, or he would have hit the 8 car.
But they had the pit board out for him, and when he came into his pit stall, instead of stopping on the board, he slid through it. And in the meantime, he just passed Mark Martin and got in the lead.
Tell you what, he's loving these mile-and-a-half racetracks. And I'm sure that Mark Martin did not contest that battle for the lead very hard.
It got Carl 5 bonus points for leading a lap. Here's how it went.
On the backstretch, we see him pressuring the 6 car, and Mark just says, okay, you're faster than I am at this point in time, go.
With 130-plus laps to go, Mark's not going to contest that, as Benny talked about. Dave?
And Mark just radioed his crew chief, Pat Tryson. It just gets tighter and tighter. Means the car doesn't want to turn as well. And guys are starting to watch the weather here as the shadows come over the track. This track will tighten up. In fact, Kyle Busch, one of the cars earlier, talking about putting a spring rubber in the right rear just to keep up with that condition as the conditions change out here. Marty?
Dave, just an update on the 17 car, Matt Kenseth. Robbie Reiser has conferred with the Roush Racing engineers. They should be able to run, he said, 2.5 hours on that 1 backup battery. Matt radioed back, said, I'm on battery number 1. I'm going to run that out until it's completely gone. Then I'll switch over to the 2nd battery. So they're fairly convinced they'll be okay. No concern right now with putting a new battery in. Bill?
Thanks, Marty. We'll keep an eye on that. More than half the track now in shadows as we race from daylight to darkness at the Texas Motor Speedway. Carl Edwards, the leader.
30.75. $30.79. $30.79.
Still there. You're clear. Clear one back and pulling away here.
30.98.
Mondays on the USA Network. Don't miss Raw. Pin Shawn Michaels to win the triple threat match. Now find out what champ John Cena does next on Raw. Live Monday at 9 only on USA. Here's John.
I don't know what Marty called him. I forgot at Martinsville, but
I think he was angry. John had to miss a week after that, didn't he?
I think he got a hernia.
Carl Edwards wrestled the lead from Mark Martin a couple of laps ago, and now Tony Stewart trying to hold off Brian Vickers, who has started marching toward the front. Alan?
Hey, Bill, it's kind of a familiar-looking pattern if you watch the race in Atlanta last week for Tony Stewart. Started off well, led a lap in the early going of the race, and then kind of fell back a little bit, wound up finishing ninth. Remember, at the beginning of our broadcast, I asked Tony what his goal for the day would be. He said to finish ahead of all the other championship guys. 3 of them are ahead of him right now. Matt?
Alan, right now about 60% of the racetrack is in shade. That's exactly what Brian Vickers wants. He says the longer we run and the more shade it gets in the racetrack, the better my race car is. It starts out free, it slowly dials itself right in.
13 top 15 finishes in the last 16 races for Brian Vickers, including 6 top 10s. Best finish this season, second at Pocono.
And make it 4 here in a little, right now. There's Jimmy Johnson. Past Tony Stewart.
And behind him is that other Joe Gibbs car, Denny Hamlin, in the 11, the FedEx car. 20 car does not look comfortable.
Looks like it got loose right there. I don't know what the car's doing, but he was loose right there. Marty?
You're pretty spot on there, Wally. I'm impressed. The car's loose to start off with. That's kind of the way you have to be with all these guys, as he goes under his teammate Tony Stewart for the 7th position. The car gets tighter, though, the longer he runs. All they did on the last stop, half-pound in the right rear for Denny, who's been very impressive here. He has 2 top 10s in his very young Nextel Cup Series career. And as we talked about, signed to drive this 11 car for next year. And he's going to drive the Busch Series, so that's 70-plus races this young man will drive next year for Joe Gibbs Racing.
Talked about earlier in the race, the crew guys really thrilled with the performance of their driver.
It's amazing what a year can do, isn't it?
Oh boy.
Last year at this time, he was not even the Busch regular, was he? His first Busch Series start was November 13th. Talk about Denny Hamlin. And here he is, announced today to be the Federal Express driver for 2006.
He's run 4 races this season, has 2 top 10 finishes, a couple of 8th place finishes. I guess you could say he's really delivering for them. Huh? See if we can't duck in the Aflac trivia question here. Benny?
Oh, that's good.
In the truck, please cue the duck. I know we have something interesting to tell.
Only driver to win his first career Busch and Cup Series race at Texas. I don't think that's exactly the toughest one we've come up with. The duck being very nice to us today.
I think I know the answer to that.
Give it a shot, BP. What do you think it is?
Well, we got the 38 car on screen, but I knew it was Dale Earnhardt Jr. You're trying to trick me by putting that 38 car on the screen. But yes, Junior won both his Busch first Cup and first Busch race here.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. runs 11th. We'll take you through the field when we come back. And right now, we'd be starting with Carl Edwards. He runs up front at Texas.
Still there to your door. Now you're clear, all clear. Back inside by himself. Don't forget you got to pull off visor if it's getting dark down the front here. Need to run at 82, lap 247, Joey. Okay. A little over halfway on tires and fuel right there, Michael. Still outside there. Clear behind them.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Series racing from Texas Motor Speedway is brought to you by Chevy, the winningest name in racing, and American Revolution. By Principal Financial Group, we'll give you an edge. By Speed Pass from Exxon and Mobil. And by Lipitor. Ask your doctor if Lipitor is right for you.
220 laps are complete here at the Texas Motor Speedway in the Dickies 500. Carl Edwards continues to lead. Finished 19th here in the spring. Won last week. Alan, going for 2 in a row. Let's go through the field.
Yeah, the remarkable emergence of Carl Edwards as a winning force in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. Bill took the lead at the 300-mile mark of this race about 21 laps ago. Right now, on cruise control, continuing to be pounded by his spotter, Bobby Hudson, to be smooth and take care of his stuff, Dave.
Mark Martin had a very good test here at Texas Motor Speedway. Crew chief Pat Tryson told me this morning that they've used basically everything they had on that setup for their setup today. And those adjustments that they're making toward the end here, you can bet they'll go back to their notes.
Dave, Casey Mears having an impressive run, currently runs in the 3rd position. Now he lost 2 spots on his previous pit stop, then 2 spots right after the restart, slowly reeling back in the leaders. He has changed up his line just a little bit. The car is on the free side, Snyder.
Well, Matt, one of the effects of losing a battery is that you have to shut off all of your fans, and when you do that, the handling of the car changes. That's been the case for Matt Kenseth. He is in 4th. The car has gotten tighter because he has had to shut off all of those fans. Matt?
Brian and Vickers telling Lance McGrew the car is really, really close. Said it was a little tight earlier. Lance said, look, you can't just tell me it's tight. You got to give it to me on a scale of 1 to 10. Meanwhile, the 48, his teammate, Jimmy Johnson, the track bar adjustment, they met on the last stop. He says really helped him down in turns 1 and 2 where the shade is really drastic, but he said still tight on late exit. Chad told him, search around for a better line. Snyder?
Matt, this morning, Denny Hamlin told me, you know what, these mile-and-a-half tracks, they just aren't my bag. I'm not very good at these racetracks. I would beg to differ. The worst this young man has been all afternoon, 14th, and that's when he started the race. Currently, he is 7th, just a little bit tight in the center of the corner. Alan?
Tony Stewart continuing to slip back. He's now down to the 8th position, talking about needing help now when he gets into the corner, as well as when he starts to go back to the gas. Marty?
Elliott Sadler's been struggling with a tight race car for most of the afternoon. Where they're getting it done, though, is on pit road. Chocolate Thunder, that's the name of the pit crew. Last 2 stops, they've gained him 5 and 3 positions. That never hurts your effort on the racetrack, Dave.
Listen to Kyle Busch describe the condition of his race car.
It's that right front bump that I told you about yesterday. You get in the corner and you fall on it and it kind of feels rough, like it's wanting to do something stupid. That's what I got right through the center. That's making me tight.
Now remember, these drivers break the corners down into at least 3 parts. He talked about through the center. The problem is when they go to fix that, his car right now wants to get loose off the corner, and they don't want to exacerbate that problem, Alan.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s periodic updates to his crew chief, Tony Eury Jr. on his car have gone from descriptions of what the car is doing in the corners to the latest transmission, which is the car is getting worse. Marty?
Alan, if the folks at home keep their channel locked on NBC after the race today, they'll see Rusty Wallace featured on Dateline this evening. Rusty Wallace in the car right now, a little bit too looser than he would like, but the car was tight on the last run, so Rusty, he likes it. Alan? Matt?
Marty running in the 13th position. Sterling Marlin scored his season's best finish right here at Texas in the spring, 5th. Now he says the car way on the tight side, much like it was the very first run this afternoon. Now another guy having a very good day is Dale Jarrett in the 88. He says not much has changed about the way his car is handling. It's still a little tight in the center of the corner. And the 42, Jamie McMurray, trying to get the Texaco Star up into the top 10 like his teammate Casey Mears. Hasn't said a whole lot on the radio, just the fact that the car, much like it has been all day, Dave, is still tight.
Like teammate Mark Martin, Kurt Busch tested here as well. Talked to his crew chief, Jimmy Fennig, this morning. He said we've used nothing from that test. It was a wasted test in his mind, so they've had to struggle to find the handle here. They still have not been able to do that. Right behind him, the 29 car of Kevin Harvick. On the last stop, his car went from being a little loose in the beginning to a little tight off at the end. They made a wedge and air pressure adjustment on that. As for Mike Bliss, another no changes stop. His crew chief, Booty Barker, thinking the car is good enough as it is. They don't want to mess with it too much because it's running fairly well for Mike at this point. As for the other Mike, that's Mikey. He's running the high line coming out of turn 4. Michael Waltrip on that last stop made some changes as well. His car has improved a little bit since early on in the race. Alan?
Well, Ken Schrader has moved from 41st starting spot up to 20th position in his car. Just kind of hanging there at the moment. They asked him if he wanted any changes on the car. He said, no, I don't want to exacerbate anything. Actually, that's my word. Marty?
Alan Martin Truex Jr. said the sun's going down, and that's making this race car have less grip out there because they're going faster. He said snappy loose, hard to drive on lap 221. 10 laps ago, he said terrible, terrible, terrible. That's how his race car is handling. Same can be said for Jeff Gordon. Unfortunately, after finishing second last week at Atlanta, Texas, has not been so kind. They made 3 pit stops on their last stop. Found out the spring rubber they put in the right rear spring had fallen out. Matt?
And the 43 of Jeff Green running 23rd. One of those guys just trying to work this car into a decent position just outside the top 20. The car tight much of the afternoon as we work our way into the evening. Snyder.
Well, Matt, the other Petty Enterprises car, Kyle Petty, back there in the 24th position, having a hard time hanging on this race car. The racetrack is changing. Kyle said the car extremely loose for him on this run. Alan?
Well, the day-long struggle for Ryan Newman in this backup car continues. He's running 25th right now. A series of transmissions talking about, I'm smoking the right rear tire off the corners. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe it's just dirty air. It's just not been a good day for the 5th place driver in points. Dave?
And Alan, there are no more cars in my area to add on, and their condition might have not improved, and I couldn't find any to use the word worser on, which is what exacerbate might have meant when I said it.
That's the disclaimer. So that's the top 25. Travis Kvapil runs 26th, and Ricky Rudd 27th, the last car on the lead lap. Greg Biffle is 29th, 1 lap down here at Texas.
What? Just wanted to know if you were still tight. Clear high, you're clear of the 18.
.239 laps complete here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Casey Mears has back-to-back top 10 finishes at this track, and right now he's battling Carl Edwards for the race lead, and Mears is going to take it again.
He made up 3 or 4 seconds on the 99 car of Carl Edwards to take this lead.
He had a rough restart after that last caution came out. He got boxed up in traffic. He slid up the racetrack, lost some spots. I think his car takes a while to get going, too. So, really, the 41 car needs this race to stay green as long as possible.
The 21 laps earlier in the race, Casey did.
There's Ryan Newman just in front of Casey Mears, about to go a lap down, currently in the 27th position.
Casey has worked his way forward. Mears was 4th here in the spring and 7th in the spring race of last year. Inside of Ryan Newman. This is a good run for Mears. Edwards 2nd, Mark Martin 3rd, Matt Kenseth 4th, Vickers 5th.
Whoa! Man, I'll tell you what, Mears just about got wrecked on that deal.
And Carl Edwards is back in front, and Casey Mears is trying to get his breath back. He goes back to the 3rd position.
back and take another look at it.
I think Newman just got him loose, getting off of turn 4. See, you got it. We talked about this earlier on the Home Depot virtual press. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Took the air off the
trouble. And this time the 12 car comes spinning down the front stretch.
Caution is out. Newman has it pointed in the right direction. Fourth caution.
Just a lucky dog.
You're not eligible for the lucky dog if he calls the caution, are you?
No.
Yeah, I'm good.
He just got loose.
Yeah, sure did. Through the grass.
I think he maybe said, "You're just a lucky dog." For not wrecking.
Tell you one thing, when that thing came to a stop, he did a great job in not going all the way around.
Sure did.
Good job, Ryan.
Saw a couple of guys yesterday put it in the wall after that happened. Nice save by Newman. No lucky dog. Ryan brought out the caution. So Carl Edwards has recaptured the lead. Mears back to third. Our Napa Field summary. 7 different leaders. 6 of them are chasers. This is our 4th caution.
Only had 13 laps of caution so far, but in stock car racing, a lot of times cautions breed cautions.
Especially towards the end of the race.
Yeah, when all these cars get jammed up nose to tail with just a few laps to go, strange things happen.
Mike Skinner, the lone car, officially out of the race. There's Greg Biffle, runs 29th, 1 lap down. He has had a difficult day.
First of all, he had a tire loosen up, left rear tire. Leading the race, had to make an unscheduled pit stop.
Greg led 16 laps. And as well talked about, got loose coming off of 4. Saved it, lost it, saved it, and then lost it, but didn't hit anything.
And then that's trying to get by the 22 car. He and Scott Wimmer got together, and see the damage on the right side of the 16 car.
Field to pit road. We start with Dave.
Oh boy, Mark Martin wasn't sure he wanted to make this adjustment. The car went from neutral to just a little bit loose at the end. They will take a quarter round up on the left rear wedge. That'll make it a little bit looser. Mark thinks he can handle it, Matt.
Now Casey Mears felt like he couldn't get in the gas when he needed to. You can already see the wedge wrench in the back window. They're going to adjust the chassis, and they're going to back up the air pressure adjustment they made on the previous stop, Snyder.
Battery 1 still hanging in there for Matt Kenseth on the bottom of your screen. Car too tight, half pound out of the left rear, half pound to the right front, and up on the track bar. Alan.
Track bar adjustment, air pressure adjustment, 4 tire change for Carl Edwards. Let's see how well he gets out around the 8 car this time. He's going to lose a spot or 2 on pit road there.
Looks like 3 or 4.
Sure does.
Lost 4 spots.
Another good job by that 6-pit crew for Mark Martin.
See, Elliott Sadler gained a spot as Lance Hanna, the rear tire carrier, and Dave Smith combined for a good stop. We see Lance making that adjustment.
.38 bunch getting the job done for Elliott Sadler.
.230. And the whole track is shaded right now, Tony. About 5 or 8 minutes ago, the whole track is shaded. Still got your shade on your helmet, Mike? No. Okay.
Tires still look really, really good. No wear, no bad wear anywhere at all.
Put you back in the top 15 right there, Mike. Really on the outside of a top 14.
Yeah, I'm staring right down to the first 14 guys right now.
Tonight, don't miss the big TV event everyone's talking about. The West Wing goes live. That's an all-new live episode of The West Wing tonight, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, only on NBC. The entire track now in the shade here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Casey Mears comes off pit road second to Mark Martin. We've introduced you to Mark's crew. Here are the guys getting it done for Casey Mears on pit road.
Jimmy Ellich, Redding, California.
Marty Forcier, Superior, Wisconsin.
Bobby Burrell, Hot Springs, Virginia.
Sean Pete, Nanaimo, British Columbia.
Alex Janchuk, Syracuse, New York.
Jason Sheets, Carmel, Indiana.
Les Huntley, Renwick, Iowa.
Eric Hoyle, Asheville, North Carolina.
Phil Horton, Lenore, North Carolina.
Casey Mears behind Mark Martin. Let's check on pit road with Marty.
Well, Matt Kenseth's currently in 7th, and Robbie Reiser, how's that one battery holding out?
Well, we got another battery in the car, so we should be all right, I would think. You know, we haven't even used the second battery yet, so we should be able to get there.
I know turning off the fan has certainly changed the handling of the car, too. It's made Matt's car tighter. Alan?
Championship leader Tony Stewart's crew chief is Greg Zipadelli. Greg, you've slipped back here in this middle part of the race. What's Tony saying about your car?
It started out real tight, so we kind of aggressively adjust on it, and then we must have went overboard, or I'm not really sure. That first set of tires we put on was a little tight because it's free, so we've kind of gone back to basically where we started. We got a little better there. It was just too free to take off, so we're kind of trying to marry the two setups where we started and some of the adjustments, and hopefully we'll get this Home Depot Chevrolet back up there. It's not far off. It's just there's a lot of good race cars out there now.
All right, thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Alan. There you see how the Chasers are doing today. Mark Martin, the race leader.
And now that the racetrack is completely in the shade, things are going to change.
At Casey Kane and Mike Skinner, 2 drivers out of the race. Finished for the day. Mark Martin won here in 98, takes them to the green flag on the restart.
See if Casey Mears' car is any better now on a restart if they've adjusted for it, or like we said earlier, look, his car takes a few laps. He's going to get some pressure right away. It looks like Vickers in that 25 car.
Well, Vickers came off turn 2, looked to be much faster than Mir. He's on the inside trying to take that second spot away.
Vickers on the inside.
And we've seen that be trouble a couple of times today. Man, how about that 25? What are they saying?
Well, BP, remember we told you earlier he could not wait for the sun to go down completely because he felt like down in turns 1 and 2 where there was shade earlier in the race, that's where his car worked the best. And think back to the Lowe's Motor Speedway in May. He won the All-Star Challenge Open event in darkness, a similar layout. This team really wants to go out of 2005 with a victory to complete the cycle of Hendrick, getting all the cars in victory lane for owner Rick Hendrick.
Tell you what, that time by, he was faster than the leader, Mark Martin. Tony Edwards has gone by. Denny Hamlin taking over a spot. Didn't he?
Yeah, I think he made up the driver.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, Tony Edwards.
Oh, there you go. I meant Tony Stewart.
I knew what you meant. A lot of them out there. On board with Joe Nemechek. There's Edwards.
And yep, here's his slipping back a little bit.
Once again, just can't get started on the restarts.
And he started second, and he's already a second and a half behind Mark Martin, and that's the thing. You're losing so much ground to the leader. It's hard. It takes such a long time to make it up.
But when he gets going,
he's wise, but he needs it to stay green a long time.
Mir's already 1.8 seconds now behind Mark Martin.
And when this sun goes and cools this racetrack off, since the green flag, Mark Martin, Brian Vickers have all run. Carl Edwards, they've all run their fastest lap of the day.
I heard Carl thank his mom. If you were with us earlier, before they went green to start the race. That's his mother, Nancy Sterling. Carl talks about how she's been the biggest influence, the biggest supporter of his career. 3 wins this year for Carl. Comes in off the win at Atlanta. These guys are in a wad.
Yeah, this is one of those places that we talked about earlier. You got to give a guy a lot of space in between your car and his car when you go through the corners, or the car on the bottom gets very loose. Like, see how the 17 is down on the 11? That'll make the 11 loose. And now the 17 drifts up the racetrack, but
Denny Hamlin trying to take that spot away from Kenseth. That's a battle for 6th.
Kenseth has clinched the 5 points for leading the most laps here today. Matt has led 149 laps.
Marty, the 17 doesn't look to be as fast as he was a moment ago.
Yeah, I think BP, they're losing a little bit of speed. He turned off those bead blowers, which were cooling the tires, and that made the car tighter for Matt. They made several changes on the last stop. Half a pound out the left rear tire, half a pound out the right front tire, and 3/4 of a round up on the track bar. And Matt said the track is changing, and he told Robbie Reiser that's not necessarily good for us. Track getting tighter. That's not what Matt wants.
Nobody knows exactly what this track is going to do because we've never raced here at this time of day.
Talking to the crew chiefs this morning, said, okay, when the sun goes down, is the car going to get tighter? Well, I think so. You go to the next one, he said, no, I think you'll get looser because the front tire will then start to grip better and the back end will come around. So you're right, Bill. No one really knows exactly what's going to happen.
And like Alan said earlier, that Zipadelli was saying, he didn't think it was going to change at all. There's all different kinds of theories out there.
Alan, you want to jump in here?
And I heard another whole theory altogether, Bill, which is that when the sun went down, whatever your car was doing would be exaggerated. If the front tires were gripping better than the back end would just get worse. If the back was better than the front, the push would just get worse. Nobody knows what to expect here. Dave?
Alan, did you say exaggerated or exacerbated? Okay.
That was exaggerated, Dave.
Okay, I'll say exacerbated, and that's what can happen. Obviously, Mark Martin's crew has decided that the track will tighten up. Remember, Mark was a little bit leery of going looser on the car, but since the restart, with clean air on the front of that car, it's not been too loose to handle. So they're in the right position right now, according to the way they're playing the Texas Motor Speedway as it goes to twilight.
Here comes Brian Vickers.
And right behind him, here comes that 99 car of Carl Edwards.
Mark Martin has led 26 laps.
Vickers does look pretty strong right now. Working a little bit different line than Mark Martin is, and it's working for him because he's making up a lot of ground. Especially getting off of turn 2 and 4. It seems like the 25's got a pretty good run.
See how hard Mark makes him work for the pass.
I bet it won't be too hard.
74 to go.
Still got a lot of race yet.
If this thing goes green, just one more pit stop.
Here's where Vickers is strong, right here.
Looks like that's where he's going to take the lead.
Mark Martin falls in behind him, so Brian Vickers in search of his first Nextel Cup Series win. Around championship contender Mark Martin to the lead. First lap led for Vickers today. 6 of the 10 chasers have led today. We talk about how Matt has clinched the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. Carl Edwards in the 99 Office Depot Ford around Mark Martin to second.
And he's about 2/10 of a second per lap faster than Vickers. Talking about Carl Edwards in the 99.
Edwards has led 45 laps today. And now he starts to close in on the 25 of Brian Vickers. Vickers, Edwards, Mark Martin, Casey Mears, Tony Stewart, the top 5 at Texas with 71 to go.
Catching this whole group in front of you pretty quickly. Some lap cars are in the middle, messing things up. Lap car up high here, holding things up, the 01. Lap car on the bottom as well. There you are, there's the bottom one. Still outside the 01, you're clear. Go get them all, man. Still outside. Out there by himself. Clear behind him. Clear 10 back. A couple lap cars are in front of you here, the 31 and 22. Flat. It is starting to cool down rather quickly as well, Michael. Still there, you're clear. Clear. Go get the 22, get by him here. Laps right now, 64 to go.
Here at the Texas Motor Speedway in Fort Worth, Carl Edwards has recaptured the lead, moving Brian Vickers back to second. Did it on lap 267.
Gets the position off turn 4, but couldn't make the pass, so he goes to the inside. Gets that great run down the front stretch, and going in turn 1, just drives alongside the 25 and into the lead.
So that was 3 laps ago, and here's Mom watching from the pit box on pit road.
Not a lot of emotion.
Carl, after the win at Atlanta last Sunday, 87 points behind third in the championship standings. Alan, he looks pretty strong right now.
Yeah, a very good race car, Bill. You know, he lost a few spots on that last pit stop. Actually, the last couple of pit stops. The first time we heard and we showed you how Carl kind of took that one on his shoulders. This time they had a little bit of trouble on the pit stop. Crew Chief Bob Osborne giving the crew a little pep talk on the radio just after the stop, saying, guys, we can get this done. Let's go do it. They're getting it done on the track. The last pit stop, though, will look big for this race team based on the last couple.
And now Mark Martin trying to close in on Vickers for second.
And I would just think that maybe he's talking about the pit stop. I think these guys, they want to make pit stops because the faster this car is, they come in, they have that buffer on everybody else. So they want this thing to stay green real bad.
Points as they run right now. 61 laps to go.
Tony Stewart is doing exactly what he said in a pre-race show today. He just wants to beat all the rest of the guys trying to chase a NASCAR Nextel Cup. Only Carl Edwards and Mark Martin are beating so far. Alan?
One word to describe what's going on with Tony Stewart, BP. Better. We heard from Greg Zipadelli a little while ago. They've gone back closer to the chassis settings they started the race with. Tony has moved up to 4th position in this run. Does he have enough laps left, and does he have enough cars to get the rest of those guys in the championship ahead of him?
And the question is, can Casey Mears make his car better here as we go along? Looking for the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, Matt.
Bill, just like last week, as the race gets closing in on the final laps, Jimmy Johnson started to struggle last week, faded back to 16th. He is fading tonight because the car is loose in and tied up. Now they pulled a spring rubber out in the last stop. He said it did absolutely nothing for me. Battle for second place, but he said it has made me worse off turn 2. He lost 28 points last week, losing more points again as Mark Martin dives on the inside of Vickers, who says his car is just way too tight on exit.
And that was pretty close coming off of 4.
Say 25 was pretty sideways getting off of 4 there. He did a good job hanging on to that race car. But Mark has made a lot of ground. All of a sudden, it was like the 25 just lost a lot of ground.
And I'm sure that Brian Vickers in that 25 car is saying, what in the world are those guys at Roush doing to make those cars handle so well?
Well, Brian Vickers isn't the only guy in the garage. So.
Well, that's true.
So Mark Martin, 1.6 seconds now behind his teammate Carl Edwards. Matt?
Well, Bill, you were talking about the 25. Now, he just told Lance McGrew, we've got a good car, but it's just way too free on entry. And then when I want to get in the gas and start to put some wheel in it and turn, the car just starts to push up off the corner. He's having a good day. You asked about Casey Mears in the 41 car. His car is loose and just getting looser.
So the different cars are going to react differently as we go from daylight into darkness here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Up front, it's Carl Edwards. Has led 55 laps so far today. Won last week at Atlanta, trying to win today at Texas. Hey, after the race, except on the West Coast, it's a special Dateline NBC featuring Rusty Wallace. The 89 Series champ talks about why he's retiring and a whole lot more. That's Dateline NBC coming up after the race on the East Coast and 7 o'clock out west. Rusty running in the 10th spot right now. Everybody chasing Carl Edwards. Let's go through the field. Starting with that 99 car, Alan.
Well, obviously, when you're leading, things are looking pretty good. Carl Edwards right now trying to fend off those behind him and maybe even pull away from those who are trailing him. One more pit stop to go. They're already chatting about what adjustments they might want to make there, Dave.
Mark Martin said in final practice that he was feeling even better than Atlanta, and also that he was looking for something they had found in the test, and they hadn't quite found it yet this weekend. Asked Pat Tryson this morning, he wouldn't tell me. He said they went back and forth a little bit, not sure if they did find that certain something or not, Matt.
Now, Dave, Brian Vickers would love to join Ken Schrader and Jerry Nadeau's drivers who scored their first career wins in the 25 car for owner Rick Hendrick. The car still tight, especially from the center to exit of the corner. AB.
Tony Stewart has settled in fourth position, ahead of all but 2 of those chasing him for the championship right now. Stewart's car lacking a little bit of rear-end grip here as we work with 48 laps to go, Matt.
And Alan, it's like flipping a light switch. The 41 just seems to come to life. He doesn't fall off as much as some of the other cars. He was over a second back from the leaders now, just 5.16 seconds. The car not as free. Snyder?
Well, Matt Kenseth accomplished goal number 1. That was leading lap, and goal number 2. He's led the most laps. Now, goal number 3, it's going to be a little more difficult. Goal number 3 was to win the race tonight. Matt said the car is neutral, but since it's gotten dark and the track has gotten cooler, the other guys have a bunch of speed that we don't have all of a sudden. That was his report to the team. Denny Hamlin, 24-year-old Virginia native, doing a very nice job. His car was tied on the last run. They have now made it loose off the corners. Earlier, he told the guys, just stop talking. I'm trying to concentrate. Matt?
And Jimmy Johnson in the 48, running in the 8th position, trying to make up some ground on point leader Tony Stewart, who's up in the 4th position. Now they're going to try a little brake bias change in the 48 car until they make their final stop, which should be, Marty, somewhere around lap 300.
Well, Matt, Rusty Wallace is in 9th after he's gained a few positions coming off pit road, being in 12th. Rusty admonished the crew, saying, you know what, guys, we keep losing spots on pit road. We've got to stop that. There's a battle for the lead, Bill.
Mark Martin has caught Carl Edwards.
Whoa, a little bit loose there for Mark. Off of 4.
So Michael Waltrip, oh, he got spin off turn 4.
Caution is out.
What is that, Biffle?
It's like Biffle again, yeah.
What a day he's had. And Jimmy Johnson is caught on pit road.
Well, he came down pit road to avoid the accident.
Right. And he will get his position back because the field is frozen when the caution comes out.
I saw Michael Waltrip slow off turn 4 the lap before that, but he looks like he's up to speed now, Dave.
Michael reported back to his crew as they were trying to assess what was going wrong. Bolts are good, a lot of things are good, motor's bad. And then he got the report back, yeah, Michael, sounds like we're blowing up, we're done here. So that was the last I heard before we started spinning on the front stretch.
No lucky dog, because Greg Biffle, who brought out the caution, was the first car scored off the lead lap. So Biffle, who's worked all day to get the lucky dog, is unlucky again. We can see what happened here. Wow.
Just lost it.
Just around he goes.
And that'll happen,
as we've seen. And Denny Hamlin, just his 5th race in the Nextel Cup Series. On the job training right here.
Got on the apron, that's why he got loose. He got his left front tire on the apron of the racetrack.
In the middle of the track, just stop, come on, come on. Good job.
And that's what turned him sideways.
Nice job by Denny Hamlin there. Pit road is closed.
Well, they knocked all the cones down. The commitment cones.
It will not turn.
Okay, that will not turn. Now, sometimes what a driver will do.
That was Biffle, right?
Right, okay. To help the car turn when it's not pushing is get down to the bottom of the racetrack and hook the apron, and that actually loosens the car up.
Do anything. Raise the track bar around, put another rubber in it. Bring the right rear up a half a pound.
So he's trying to use the track to help him.
He's trying to use the apron. Yeah, the apron will loosen your car up, but sometimes when you're running 165, 70 through the corner, it gets you a little bit too loose.
We leave here, we head for Phoenix. NASCAR Busch Series racing from Phoenix, presented by Walk the Line. That's Saturday, 3:30 Eastern on TNT, and we're back on NBC next Sunday afternoon.
Sound like Johnny Cash. It's Walk the Line.
It's the new movie. Of course, our coverage on Sunday, 3 Eastern, begins with the Bank of America Countdown to Green, right here on NBC. 43 laps to go. If it stays green, this is your last chance to make your car better. Lights are on here at the Texas Motor Speedway. They like to call it the Great American Speedway. About 190,000 fans here. And there has just been a great atmosphere here throughout the week here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Getting ready for this race. First time the fans in this area have had 2 Nextel Cup races in the same season.
We're burning up some film, aren't they?
Boy.
Taking pictures of all these cars as they're coming down pit road, make that final pit stop.
Race has been on a record pace. Carl Edwards trying to become the 5th Roush driver to win here. Let's go to pit road, start with Dave.
And Mark Martin's pit crew has been on a record pace too as well, Bill. Twice today they've given him the lead off of pit road. They're going to make that wedge adjustment one more time to loosen up the car just a little bit more. Matt?
The biggest issue for Vickers is that you've got to fix my tie-down exit. Also, the light came on underneath the oil pressure gauge. They are concerned about that. We'll follow up more on that later. Snyder.
Matt Kenseth, bottom of your screen, the 17 car said I'm a little loose off the corners, and he said that quarter round up on the wedge. Alan?
Wedge adjustment for Carl Edwards. Crew's chance to be a star. They've lost spots on the last couple of pit stops. How's this one's going to go? Oh, it's close.
Like Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart looks like the man.
Greg Zipadelli's guys get Stewart off of pit road. So take a look at the video.
Fantastic job. Just barely meets Mark, but he beats him.
Well, should be interesting. As it gets darker, it gets more exciting here at Texas.
Stay out, try to leave left, stay out there, keep up there. Yeah, they're going to black flag you now, Gibson, but I tried to tell the official up here what we were doing. So hopefully the 45 will pit this time, just so you know. Yeah, I just want to get credit for one lap. Yeah, the 45 should be coming this time here, guys. It's coming to 1 to go, so when that 45 comes, Michael, just try to blow by him. You know how it works. Yeah, I think I do. Yeah, you're way ahead of him, Michael. There you go. Thanks.
Field has just gotten the 1 to go here at the Texas Motor Speedway. You can see how the conditions here have changed.
It's amazing how air temperature has not changed a great deal, but track temperature has changed dramatically.
Check on pit road with Matt.
Bill, they're not sure if it's a faulty oil pressure gauge in the 25 or if they have a major problem developing. Unfortunately, time will tell, but one problem that they know about, they found a piece of metal in the left front tire, and it was down to 11 pounds. That's where he said he had the vibration. Dave?
Pat, we're racing into the night for the first time. Do you think you found the right adjustments for Mark?
I hope so. We've been getting the Viagra forward to us a little better all night, and we're pretty fast there on that last run. We're running them back down, so hopefully this is about the same length run. It stays green, so hopefully we got a little left for him, and hope we get by Tony and get away from everybody.
We hope it stays green too. Bill, back up to you.
Thanks, Dave. Getting ready to go back to green here. Don't forget tonight, right here on NBC, a special live edition, The West Wing, the big debate. That's 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on NBC. So Tony Stewart wins the race off of pit road. He's got Mark Martin, Brian Vickers, Matt Kenseth, Carl Edwards, Casey Mears, all trying to make a run. 39 to go here at the Great American Speedway.
He had him clear BP. He really needed to get Newman clear.
He tried his best. He tried his best to get the 12 car off the gas. Did not quite work.
Because the longer he stays side by side like that, Tony Stewart's going to keep on stretching out that lead. So he needs to get past Newman. This will do it.
So Mark Martin and now Brian Vickers trying to clear the lap traffic. Now Matt Kenseth clear of the 12 down the backstretch.
This all looks much cooler at night.
Yes, it does.
And Carl Edwards, a 99 car, who was the leader, or I guess running second when they made these pit stops, trying to get by the 12. And those sparks, that's not something wrong with the cars. They're just going down and dragging the racetrack.
I thought you were talking about the flash bulbs going off. It's spectacular here right now. Carl Edwards. On board with Ryan Newman. Newman is the first car lap down, but watch as he comes off of 4. The sparks off the car and the flash bulbs in the stands here at Texas. Mark Martin runs second behind Tony. Alan, what are you working on?
Just a follow-up report while we have Ryan Newman on the camera there, Bill. Fifth place guy in points coming into the day. Backup car, they've struggled with it all day. Some of Ryan's calls into his crew have gotten more urgent as the day goes on about needing help with the handling of that race car. Uncharacteristic struggle on a high-speed racetrack. That's been the trouble spot for this team these last few weeks.
And just to follow up on that, Mark Martin, who runs second now behind Tony Stewart, who is the championship leader. Mark obviously trying to win the race, but his championship chances might be determined by how he fares on this track today, if he can get around Tony and pick up the win and some more points.
I mean, with Tony Stewart running out front, he's going to bury a lot of guys tonight as far as their championship hopes.
Kenseth and Brian Vickers. This is for third. Edwards watches.
Carl Edwards is a second and a quarter behind Tony Stewart.
What are you listening to, AB?
Just after the pit stops before the restart, Bill, Matt Kenseth dialing over to Carl Edwards' team's radio with this.
Well, man.
Go ahead.
Hey, I know you're quicker. I'll get out of your way when I can. If I just run a lap or two, pretty loose, get around these lap cars, I'll get out of the way. I know you're quicker. I heard your spotter last week saying all it was a roadblock, so I'll try not to do that.
All right, 10-4. I don't know if he said that, but he probably said something like you were just a big jerk and he didn't like you. I don't know how you heard it, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't want to hold you up too long. I've been pretty decent. I'm just pretty loose to start, so I'm trying to get by the main lap cars, get a little room if I can.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks, Matt.
So a little teammate byplay there under caution. I guess the first thing, though, before Matt can give way to Carl, guys, is Carl's got to catch him.
I would say that's rule number 1.
If you were going to have a contest for nicest guy in the garage, Edwards and Kenseth would be right up there.
They sure would.
Contending for the title.
Carl Edwards just always has that great smile on his face.
He does, and the right attitude. They've just come so far in so little time. Doing a tremendous job driving for Jack Roush. He's got inside of Vickers.
Yeah, he's got the spot. He's got a lot of momentum right there going into turn 1 and completes the pass. Now he's going to go after his teammate, Matt Kenseth.
So 2 Roush cars now chasing Tony Stewart, leader on the track, leader in the championship standings. Tony won the race off of pit road. That's how he got the lead. Here are the guys that got the job done.
Hi, Greg Zipadelli, Berlin, Connecticut.
Tom Dean, Long Valley, New Jersey.
Ira Joe Hussey, Manchester, New Hampshire.
Chuck White, China Grove, North Carolina. Jody Fortson, China Grove, North Carolina.
Todd Foster, Birmingham, Alabama.
Jeff Patterson, Escondido, California.
Brian Larson, Escanaba, Michigan.
Paul Aleppa, Vienna, Virginia.
Hard-working guys over the wall and their coach. JB?
Bill, when it counted most, what could be the last pit stop in this race, a 12.90 second stop from Tony Stewart's guys. That's being a performer in the clutch, wouldn't you say?
I totally agree. Edwards gets Kenseth for third, and Mark Martin is right on Tony Stewart for the lead. 29 to go.
And he knows, I think Mark realizes he's got to go and make up all the distance he can between himself and the 99 car, Carl Edwards.
You're exactly right, BP. He's got to get by Stewart and go. And Mark's searching there. He's been running the low line at 3 and 4, and now he went up high to take a look to see if maybe he could use that to pass the 20 car of Tony Stewart.
We are on a race record pace here at Texas. Casey Mears, whose car gets better the longer they run. Now for the lead, Mark Martin.
Oh, he just blows by Tony Stewart. But here comes the crossover.
Oh, he gets him loose. Gets him loose.
Here comes Tony Stewart back.
This is why 190,000 people are here today from 50 states and 12 foreign countries.
Almost made some contact, those two cars.
So Mark will have to go to work again.
Mike said earlier, he better hurry because Carl Edwards is in their mirror.
Mark moves over, Edwards goes by. Three Roush cars behind Tony Stewart, who drives for Joe Gibbs. Carl's mom.
She get a little more animated now.
Tony knows what's coming, doesn't he?
Yeah, Edwards using that high line.
Dave?
And the 5-car of Kyle Busch remains on pit road. He said to his crew, it just shut off coming off turn 2. They tried switching ignition boxes. That did not help. It just quit.
Top 4 drivers. All contenders for the Nextel Cup Championship.
Wouldn't be surprised if the 5 car didn't break a camshaft timing belt, something like that.
Carl Edwards is moving again. Flying right now.
Oh!
Trying to do it on the bottom. Man, oh man. Well, let's see if he can hang on to it.
I don't think there's going to be a crossover move on this one.
That's hang tough for a minute or two, baby. You'll try to lift you up, but he's 2 back now, 3 back.
24 to go.
It's Bobby Hudson, the aforementioned spotter for the 99 car.
Carl Edwards ran a handful of races in the latter portion of the 2004 season. Basically gave up his rookie status. This is his first full season in the Nextel Cup Series. He cannot win the Rookie of the Year award in Nextel Cup. He can in the Busch Series, but not in Nextel Cup. But those races he ran at the end of last year, paying off big time for Carl Edwards and Roush Racing.
Mark Martin's going to take another run at Stewart. Got a pretty good run off of turn 2. He's under him.
That's where Edwards got it done. Mark passed Tony.
And this time Mark did not drift up the racetrack to allow the 20 car to get back on the inside of it.
You're the man. 22 to go.
All right, Mark, 22 left to catch Carl Edwards.
Championship standings as they run. 2 races to go after tonight.
Carl Edwards is just 92 back, but Tony Stewart
has been awesome.
He has been fantastic, running in 3rd place here tonight. About to make that 4th spot as here comes a 17 car.
Alan?
Hey, Bill, remember when Tony Stewart did the crossover on Mark Martin, and it looked like they might have made contact? Yeah. Apparently they did, because Tony just called in on the radio and said we were fine until we mashed the fender in.
Marty?
Well, Bill, you can feel the intensity not only pick up down here on pit road, but in the drivers' voices, including Matt Kenseth, who gets better the longer he runs. Remember, he told his teammate earlier, I'm loose to start with as he passes a 20 car, but the longer I go, the better I get. That may play into the 17's hands, Matt.
And the car that's starting to get into the picture there, you see him, the target car, the 41 of Casey Mears. He has slowly reeled them in, one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. In fact, his team told him, you can see he's moved up to the Carl Edwards line as he slowly reels in the 20. In fact, the last time a car number 41 went to victory lane, BP, one of your old favorite racetracks, Rockingham, October 1965, the late Curtis Turner.
Oh! Yes, I remember that. I thought the 41 car was going to get loose there off turn 2. Did not happen.
Outstanding run for Casey Mears.
At times today, the 41 car has been the fastest car on the racetrack.
Has led 23 laps today in that 41 target machine. Stewart now runs fourth. Tony had that 25th place finish at Charlotte. Those 4 top 10s in the last 5 races.
If he keeps doing that, it's going to be almost impossible to beat him.
And we all know he runs well at the 2 tracks left, Phoenix and Homestead. So I take you on a mini through the field here. Start with the 99 of Carl Edwards, Alan.
What a rocket ship for a race car is all I can say, Bill. Overcoming some issues they have had in the pits during the day today. Each time clawing his way back to the front. Carl less than 20 laps away from a win, Dave.
Start of the day telling you how Mark Martin said he would drive until he was 60 if he could have a car like last week at Atlanta. Wonder how far he'll go after this week. Marty?
Well, Matt Kenseth has done everything he could today to try and gain some points in the championship standings. He has led the most laps. Problem is, Tony Stewart is only 2 spots behind him. Hard to win the championship when the man you're trying to beat him is also finishing in the top 5. Matt.
Back in the spring right here at Texas, Mears goes down to the bottom, scored his best career finish in Nextel Cup, a 4th. That's where he runs right now, trying to reel in that 17. Alan.
Tony Stewart has fallen back to 5th place, still though ahead of Jimmy Johnson by a couple of spots, protecting most of his championship lead, and the yellow's out.
Debris in turn 3 brings out the caution. And we talked about pit strategy.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I was Casey Mears, the way his car's running, I'd stay out no matter what anybody else does. Because he's got his car fast right now, and the tires are on.
15 laps to go.
This is the tricky part. What do you do? Because when you're the leader, everybody's going to pretty much do the opposite.
There are
we got a kit here. Put tires on it.
23 cars on the lead lap.
That was 99 ready. We heard Bob Osborne saying, let's
roll. 6 or better will win it.
We come out 6th or better, we'll win it. Another question is, will they get it restarted before 10 to go? Will it be single file or a double file restart? And what will the guys in the back who have nothing to lose do?
I think they'll get started double file.
I think they will too. That means if you come out 6th,
yeah, you don't have much time.
All right, here we go. Pits are open.
Stay out.
No,
here he's coming. 6 stayed out.
Carl Edwards just made it inside the commitment cones.
Oh, is Mark Martin, the 17 cars out, Casey Mears?
That's what I would have done if I was Mears.
Matt.
Bill, the bottom of your screen, the 48 Jimmy Johnson slides to a stop in his pit box. Now they made a track bar adjustment and air pressure in their last stop. They were running in the 7th or 8th position right near the end. They should pit, get fresh tires, take another shot at it. AB?
2-tire stop for Carl Edwards. Tony Stewart is down and away. We'll check and see what he did. I went to the 99 pit, and they did just rights only.
My guess is that's the same thing that Tony did, because they left about the same time, Alan. They were afraid to change 4 tires and lose too much track position.
Now what would help Mark too is Kenseth stayed out, Mears stayed out. That helped Mark.
Right side tires only for Tony Stewart. Dave?
Well, and Mark and Pat Tryson talked it over. Mark said, I'm sure whatever we'll do is wrong.
That sounds like Mark.
Well, and because it's burned them before. I forget where it was now.
Atlanta.
That's right, Atlanta last year. Hurt them when they did not pit. This time, they feel like it was the right call. Mark reiterated that when he called back to Pat and said, right call, guys, let's win.
I think I will agree with that one. Yeah, good move.
Boy. Well, it's going to be thrilling to watch the final laps here at Texas. You'll see it live on NBC.
Roland, can you paste it on the pace car, please? Sure will. 5, 3, 2, 1. One to go at the stripe. Finger down start or no? No, it's going to be a double up. There's 13 laps to go right now. You're coming, it'll be 12. $11 laps when you take the green.
Coming up after the race right here on NBC, it's Dateline NBC. Included in that, profile of Rusty Wallace, his final year in the Nextel Cup Series. And after that, a live West Wing and a Law and Order special movie. It's all coming up. Big night right here on NBC. We're live at the Texas Motor Speedway in Fort Worth, Texas. Getting ready to go back to green. Let's check with Alan.
Hey, Bill, a tough call for crew chief Bob Osborne, right? You got to make sure you get off pit road first. You saw some guys not pit. You already know you got your work cut out for you. So they chose to go with the right side tires. Carl's going to line up 6th on this restart. And a couple guys right behind him, or at least the one behind him, Tony Stewart, also right sides only. How quickly can Carl work the traffic? Does his car handle as well on just the new rights as it did just before the pit stop?
And another thing is going to be the driver's approach to these final laps.
Yeah, he's got his work cut out for him because, you know, if Mark clears Schrader quick, that's going to buy him about 2 or 3 laps as far as having Edwards catch him. So we'll see.
Mark Martin, Matt Kenseth, Casey Mears, Rusty Wallace, Sterling Moreland all stayed out. 11 to go at Texas.
And Mark knew he had to do that and did it. Got it done, so now he needs to go.
Now Sterling Marlin has cars going by on the inside, outside. So does Rusty Wallace. Tony Stewart's on the inside and Carl Edwards on the outside.
Those tires make a huge difference. That's Schrader in the middle. Bobby Labonte in the 18. Casey Mears up high. There's Edwards in the 99. Mark trying to break away with Kenseth behind.
And Tony Stewart had to back up and follow the 99 car around the Blaney 07. The Schrader car, 49.
10 to go.
These guys are really drifting up the racetrack. Trying to get some heat in those right side tires.
Blaney in the 07 behind Stewart.
Meantime, Mark is stretching that lead out.
And Kenseth is side by side with Newman briefly.
Mark's got going for him. Clean air.
You want to mention that Greg Biffle was the lucky dog, got back on the lead lap.
The 99 car, Carl Edwards, has moved into the 3rd position. He's got by Casey Mears, but a lot of lap traffic between himself and Mark Martin, and about 2 seconds.
To go.
Now Newman. This is going to hang Mark up a little bit if Newman passes. Mark Martin will get his lap back.
And you know that Mark Martin is saying, Ryan, please don't be messing with me.
Ryan Vickers has fallen back to 22nd, had to make a second pit stop for loose lug nuts. This is Newman to get back on the lead lap around Mark. Mark lets him go. Carl Edwards, who's been the class in the second half of this race. The 99 car.
At this time, we got the 3 Roush cars running 1, 2, 3, Martin, Kenseth, and Edwards.
5 Roush cars in the 10-man chase for the Nextel Cup.
Kenseth starting to make a little ground up on Martin right now.
You're the man, go get him.
Pat Tryson, Mark Martin's crew chief, talking to his driver. Tell you again that Matt Kenseth's crew chief, Robbie Reiser, was not here on Friday. Spent Thursday and Friday with his father in the hospital back in North Carolina. His father's been ill, battling some medical problems. Matt called his crew chief, Robbie Reiser, on Thursday, said, you stay there, we'll get it done on Friday. Robbie came here Saturday to work the practice.
You're the man, go do it, man. You're the man.
Here comes Carl Edwards.
Kenseth half a second back in second, and Edwards in the 99 car.
Edwards at last lap, faster than the other 2 cars, but
you gotta pass him.
Gotta pass him. Oh, he drives to the inside.
It's been tricky when you get down there. Inside of Matt for second.
That's not what Mark wanted to see in his mirror right now.
He was really hoping the 17 would hold up the 99. Alan?
Hey, just remember that Carl Edwards said just before he went down pit road, if we restart 6th or better, I can get him. He restarted 6th.
Man he has to get now is Mark Martin.
3.5 laps to get the job done. And about 10 car lengths.
And the guy he's going to have to pass is one of the... It's Pat Tryson again, Martin's crew chief. Martin, one of the most determined racers in the sport.
Edwards didn't really make up that much ground on Mark that last lap.
No, just about a 1/10 of a second.
Ooh, he made up some ground there, though. On the high side.
Here he comes. Off of 4.
Got a good run right there, so this is going to close the gap.
2 to go. 3 miles left in the race.
Mark's going to the bottom. Here goes Edwards to the top.
For the lead, less than 2 laps to go. Carl Edwards around Mark Martin.
Baby, don't overdo it now. Clear, 1 bank.
Carl's mother watches from pit road. Last lap.
Flag, you're looking at it. 3 banks.
Pretty impressive.
Unbelievable what that is.
Edwards going for 2 in a row. Won last Sunday in Atlanta. Tony Stewart is 6th, and that really will affect the championship standings as we head for Phoenix next week. Carl Edwards.
You can take a break. It's yours.
Off of 4. It is his. Carl Edwards wins at Texas. That was something to watch.
Great job, guys. Is it over for sure? It's over, buddy. Drive it around. Break time.
MC Jimmy Johnson beat Tony Stewart by 1 position.
Unofficially, it's 38 points from Stewart in first to Johnson in second. It's Carl's mom, Nancy. Mark Martin. Those are teammates. They both drive for Jack Roush. It's a 1-2-3 Roush finish. Edwards, Martin, Kenseth.
Unbelievable. I cannot tell you how excited I am. Unbelievable.
Carl, what a ride for you. Way to go out there.
Thank you, guys. I'm going to do a backflip here.
This is Edwards' trademark.
And 190,000 people at what you say, the Great American Speedway.
That's right.
Want to see this backflip.
They all brought their cameras. Columbia, Missouri, his 4th win of the season. Edwards is 3rd in the championship standings, 77 points back with 2 races to go. There have been some amazing starts to their Nextel Cup careers for drivers, but this guy is rewriting the book.
And he stopped the landing.
That was better than Dave's pole vault. From Mom. Last words from Carl before the race starts. Thanks, Mom. I love you.
That fireworks show.
I'll tell you, it is a red, white, and blue spectacular here now at the Great American Speedway. Jack Roush, the car owner, the 5th Roush driver to win here. 10th different winner in 10 races at Texas. Alan. I'm sorry, Marty.
Well, Bill, I've wrangled Bob Osborne, and did you doubt yourself at all when you made that stop and everybody else stayed out, Bob?
Oh, I was a little worried. I knew Mark and Matt would be really strong there. But at that Office Depot Ford with Carl Edwards driving it, that kid's unbelievable. I wouldn't want anybody else ever.
What an amazing finish to this race, guys. Matt?
And Mark Martin's climbed out. You said on the radio, great call by Pat Tryson to stay out and not pit.
Yeah, it was a great call, and the best car won. Carl was spectacular, but man, we just about did it. It was a great run by the whole team, a great call, and you know, it was close. Just you know, I just couldn't beat them tires, man. I tell you, we were trying hard though. Great run. Our car was good on short runs, and you know, it took off there on the restart, and we did everything we could do. It just came up a little short.
That's the kind of points that he needed, finishing 2nd, Dave.
And the 3rd place finisher also from Roush Racing, Matt Kenseth, trying to win today for some important reasons. Almost did it.
Yeah, well, we try to win every week, but yeah, it's cool Robbie made it back to the track. His dad's feeling a little bit better, so that's good. Proud of these DeWalt guys. They've done a great job. Every race in Chase, except for Martinsville, we've had top 5 cars, and it's cool to come out here and run through. We led a lot at the beginning of the race, and I probably wasn't quick enough to adapt to the high side, and it might have cost me a little bit in the middle of the race. And you know, Carl in the 6 and the 41, them guys just got a little better than us at the end, but overall, it was a great day.
It was definitely a day of adjustments.
When we come back, we'll hear from championship leader Tony Stewart, take you to victory lane with Carl Edwards. A big night ahead on NBC. NBC Sports is live at the Great American Speedway, and now it's time for the Sprint post-race report from Texas to victory lane, and here's Alan Bestwick.
Well, Carl Edwards has just pulled his car into victory lane, and he's getting ready to climb out now, and they do things big in Texas. Watch this scene. It got warm here all of a sudden. Your 2nd win in a row, 4th of the season, pardon me. Congratulations.
Yeah, I got to thank Office Depot, Bob Osborne and the crew for having an awesome last pit stop. I mean, that's what we needed. That was the right call. Bob he made an adjustment for the 2 tires. It was perfect. Thank Charter Communications. But most of all, this win's for John Reiser. He's a hero to so many people, including myself. And he's a little under the weather. So, John, we're thinking about you. We're bringing the trophy home for you. I got to say happy birthday late to my girlfriend, too. But 4 wins, man. I can't believe it.
Look at the smile. Carl, you said on the radio just before that last pit stop, if you get me out 6th or better, I can do it. Then you went racing. Were there questions about that once you got going in those last 11 laps?
Yeah, Mark Martin, I just have to, my hat's off to Mark Martin. He almost won this race. It was only the tires that beat him. He had the best car. I was doing everything I could to stay in front of them. So their whole Viagra team did a great job. But the tires were the deal. I mean, if we could get the tires and if I didn't hit the bumps wrong and shoot the car up the racetrack, I knew we could get them. The car was just so fast. I mean, these new Office Depot Fords are rocket ships.
77 points behind Tony Stewart now, 2 races to go.
77 points. Well, we're not changing a thing. We're going out to win this championship. We're going to do it by having fun. So that way, if we lose it, we still had fun. You know, so it's a win-win situation. Just got to thank everybody. My dad, my brother back at home. I wish they were here. It's just real emotional. It's amazing to run around this racetrack with a checkered flag in my hand. It's just unreal.
And you said something just before the start about your mom being here. I guess she got to see you win too.
Yeah, my mom was here, and her husband Jim, and they're awesome people. I just really am blessed. I have just unbelievable opportunities.
Congratulations. Carl Edwards won today here in Texas. Matt?
Another top 10 finish for the championship point leader, Tony Stewart. Now, you had a great battle with probably one of the drivers you respect the most in this business, Mark Martin. He came out of his car, walked to yours. What did he say?
I just apologized. I mean, I gave him as much room as I could. I was clear up against the wall, and I knew I couldn't beat him, but I wasn't going to give up any more time than I had to. And he was just trying to suck up on the door like we do on these big tracks. He didn't mean to do it, and that's what I told him. I said, at least you're man enough. About 50% of these guys would go back and run and hide back in their haulers and wait for the phone call the next day. But that's why I respect Mark Martin more than anybody, because at least he'll get out and he'll come over and talk to you about it. Whether you're going to scream at him or not, he's going to come over and talk to you about it and get it resolved right then. So no issues with him and I, and probably gain more respect for him after tonight than I had before I came in tonight.
Tony Stewart finishes 6th here in Texas. Dave?
Just ahead of him, Jimmie Johnson. A slight pickup on the championship chase. I'm sure you wanted more tonight.
Yeah, I think, it would have been nice to, but I know how it's going to be racing the 20. He's going to run strong, and it's going to be 5 points here or there, and that's just kind of the way it is. Got 2 good tracks for him coming up. Same for us. We did it. We closed up a couple points. Pulled away from some other guys that have had some trouble. The 99's on fire, so we got to deal with him. But all in all, I'm happy. I mean, great performance all night long. The biggest problem we had was track position. We were making some big changes on pit road, trying to be prepared for the track tightening up, and had great stops on pit road with putting rubbers and stuff in. But just kind of once we came out in 10th or so and restarted outside of all the lap down cars, we'd get going 20th or 23rd, and I have to work my way through those guys, and just struggled with that a little bit with the lap traffic. But all in all, good night. Top 5, can't complain a bit.
Good night for Jimmie Johnson. Marty?
Well, Dave, not quite sure where to start with Greg Biffle's night. The spins, multiple, and the loose wheel. So to finish 20th on the lead lap, was it actually turned out to be a good evening?
I don't think it was a good evening. We really got behind with that loose wheel. That's what set us off and got us lost all of our track position, got back there. And then, your race changes. You're racing for the lucky dog versus racing for positions. And, we made a mistake before the race started. We put a left front spring in the car that we had no laps on, that we thought was going to be more travel or better spring, and I think the spring collapsed in the left front. And about 10 laps in the race, I could feel it down on the left front real bad, and we'd take wedge out and it'd get tighter. So I knew I could feel it down on that left front, and you can't make mistakes like that in a chase. You can't make guesses, and we made a guess, and 2 mistakes tonight. That left front spring, and then left the wheel loose.
And Greg leaves 122 points out of the lead. Matt?
And Casey Mears stayed out, didn't pit. Your car seemed like it took a little while to get going.
It took a long while to get going. After about 20 laps, we were the fastest car on the track. But the guys would stretch out so far that it took a while for us to run them back down. And I guess that caution came out there at the end. I didn't really see it. I guess it was some debris or something like that. But if it wouldn't have came out, I think we would have had a shot at the win. That the call that Jimmie made to stay out, I think was the right decision. Just because we were so bad on new tires, we would have bumped the pressures up and tried to go. But we were just worried that it would have just took a while to get going. And I think it was the right call. I mean, we stayed out there. We got a good finish. Real proud of everybody on the Target team. I mean, they had excellent pit stops all day long. A good, clean day for us. If we could just have more days like this, just good, clean days with no problems, I think you'd see more finishes like this.
Ties his best career finish, Bill, with a 4th.
Thanks, Matt. You're looking at the unofficial results. A race record speed, 151.078 miles per hour.
Rusty took a hit. Newman took a hit. Jeremy Mayfield, well, Jeremy's been struggling ever since the chase started. Yeah.
Michael Waltrip, Casey Kane, Mike Skinner. Unofficially, here are the championship standings. 2 races remain in the 2005 season.
Don't you know that Carl Edwards would like to start at 10 races to go once again?
Would.
Man.
And basically back through 6th place Matt Kenseth, the guys still have a shot with 2 to go. Don't forget, next weekend, NASCAR heads to Phoenix. Saturday on TNT, it's Busch Series Racing from Phoenix, presented by Walk the Line. That's at 3:30 Eastern. Then Sunday on NBC, it's Nextel Cup Series racing from Phoenix at 3 Eastern, beginning with the Bank of America Countdown to Green. Coming up next, except on the West Coast, it's an all-new Dateline NBC featuring NASCAR star Rusty Wallace, followed by the first ever live The West Wing, then Law & Order Criminal Intent. Carl Edwards wins at Texas. Now let's take you to Stone Phillips in New York.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.